Chapter 856. What goes around comes around. In the past, when the four alien races were attacking human cities, humans could only watch helplessly. Now, when humans were attacking the Asmodean cities, the Asmodeans were afraid to come out. Even the Asmodean Lord could only watch from the sidelines. The Asmodean Lord was yelling. Actually, he could do nothing to Luli, or else he wouldn't be standing here. Luli could do nothing to the Asmodean Lord, and the Asmodean Lord couldn't do anything to Luli. The Feather Wind Castle was too strong for the Asmodean Lord to break in. That soul attack was ferocious and Little White's teeth were sharp. The Asmodean Lord was worried about Lu Renhuang's attack. Luli had the wicked bead break the demon-slaying city? If the Asmodean Lord could do that, he would have done so a long time ago. Luli's constant attacks gave him a headache. The Asmodean Lord didn't know where to start. 1 day, 5 days, 10 days. In just 10 days, the shield was as thin as a piece of paper. Luli had been attacking the city for 10 days without rest. He was not tired because he didn't do much. Instead, he sat on the wicked bead with his legs crossed, holding the bead of life to generate feather wind. When the feather wind reached a certain level, he would generate a dragon of feather wind and attack the city. During the 10 days, the Asmodean Lord did try to attack Luli. He tried 3 or 4 times, but Luli could detect him every time. Feather wind was the natural enemy of the Asmodeans. The Asmodeans could travel through space. Average warriors could not detect them with psychic power. But feather wind was different. Feather wind was the energy of heaven and earth. It could blend into heaven and earth perfectly. The Asmodean Lord was hiding in heaven and earth, so he could sense it. As soon as Luli sensed it, the Asmodean Lord would not act rashly. If Luli attacked with the feather wind and sent Little White to bite the Asmodean Lord's neck, the Asmodean Lord would die. Retreat. Making sure that the shield could not stand it any longer, the Asmodean Lord waved his hand. The million warriors in the city left via teleportation formations. Previously, there were only hundreds of thousands of warriors in the city. Over the past couple of days, millions had returned and another hundreds of thousands had entered the city. The Asmodeans in the city left via teleportation formations one after another. Luli noticed this, but he was not worried. He knew that he could not kill the Asmodeans. He just wanted to force the Asmodean Lord back to the ocean land of the east. In this way, the demon-slaying city would be completely safe. Boom! 2 days later, the city's barrier was shattered. However, there was not a single devil in the city. All the resources and treasures in the city had already been moved away. This was just an empty city. Luli controlled the Feather Wind Castle to fly over. Above the city, he smashed the castles into pieces. This was especially true for the foundations of the various formations inside. If they were destroyed, it would be very troublesome to build a great city protecting array. Boom, 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 the huge city was leveled to the ground by Luli's hand shadows. Even the foundation of the formation that was buried hundreds of feet underground was shattered. All right. Luli sensed with psychic power that the city was completely destroyed. He flew the Feather Wind Castle into the valley. In the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, he arrived at another city at the end of the valley. Demonic God City. This was the giant city of the demon race, the barrier that guarded the eastern land of oceans. Throughout history, this city had been attacked by human prodigies several times. There had even been human prodigies who led armies to attack the eastern ocean land. In the end, they were forced to retreat by the demon race's ancestral artifact. This city is the same as the demon-slaying city. Luli took a look and saw a statue in the city of the Asmodeans. It was a burly Asmodean with red eyes and demonic flames in his body. Luli frowned. Throughout history, none of the Asmodeans ascended to the divinity. Where did the god that the Asmodeans worshipped come from? Only one in the Heaven Reverse universe had ascended to the divinity, and that was Emperor of Heaven Reverse. Was the true god that the Asmodeans worshipped, the Asmodean Emperor, an immortal that they fabricated? I will rest for a day before I attack. Luli dashed into the wicked bead. As long as the Feather Wind Castle was not under attack, it would not collapse anytime soon, unlike regular feather wind that would disperse. Luli, how is it going? Lu Renhuang asked as soon as Luli went in. They were worried that Luli had not contacted them for the past 12 days. I have breached a city of the Asmodeans, Luli explained. Then, he said with a smile, don't worry. The Asmodean Lord cannot do anything to me. I will rest for a day. Later, I will take down the Asmodean city at one go. You have breached a city? Patriarch of Law Enforcement's rigid face put on a smile. Breaching a city was a big deal. Everyone here could leave their names in history. This was a greater glory than defending a city. After all, few in history had ever succeeded in breaching a city. Great-grandpa, please trust me. Seeing the rare smile on Patriarch of Law Enforcement's face, Luli said with determination, sooner or later, I will kill my way to the eastern land of oceans and kill the Asmodean Lord to avenge Great-Grandfather 3. Good boy. Patriarch of Law Enforcement nodded with mixed feelings. For the first time, he looked at Luli with affection. For the first time, he wondered if it was the right choice to reconstruct his soul and forget his past. Could he really seek the Tao by forsaking his human emotions? Not necessarily. Lu Renhuang and Lu Li were living examples. Neither of them had their souls reconstructed. Lu Renhuang was no weaker than Patriarch of Law Enforcement. Even though Lu Li's realm was lower, his comprehensive abilities were stronger than Patriarch of Law Enforcement and many warriors that had their souls reconstructed. Patriarch of Law Enforcement was lost in his thoughts. Lu Li leaned against the wall and fell asleep. He was not a god. He needed rest. After a day's sleep, Lu Li woke up and checked outside. He was relieved to see that the Feather Wind Castle was still standing. He went out with Little White to gather more feather wind for the grand plan of breaching the city. Boom, 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 the shield of the city of Asmodean God was much stronger than the previous ones. It would take at least a month for the shield to be breached, assuming nothing unexpected happened. If the statue in the city could provide divine energy, it would take at least half a year. Luli was not worried. If anything happened at the demon-slaying city, Yi Cha and the others would crush a jade talisman to contact him. What was more, Uncle Nine of the June family was in the city. Soul slaves could contact their masters. Luli didn't want to spend the month in boredom. He didn't need to spend too much energy. He thought he might as well improve his abilities. Same as before, Luli sat on the wicked bead. The bead of life spun and generated feather wind automatically. While cultivating Xian energy, Luli studied the line diagram. That was right. He didn't study anything else. Instead, he focused on the line diagram, which was a treasure. Just a small part of the diagram had such miraculous abilities. What if he could learn all the diagrams? How powerful would that be? The line diagram had more than 200 small diagrams and more than a dozen large ones. Eventually, they formed a vast diagram. Luli had only learned one small diagram. He didn't know what it could be used for before. But now, he did. When he learned the diagram, he could engrave it in his bead of life and integrate it with the original diagram. Then, he would know how to use it. The original diagram was a dead diagram. But after divine energy was poured into it, it became a living diagram. Luli could use it. Divine energy. Chapter 857. It's okay. He found many remnants of divine energy in his muscles and bones. His body could not absorb so much divine energy and could only survive. Should I store the divine energy in my bead of life? Luli could not let the divine energy stay in his body because it could disperse easily. It would be safer to store it in his bead of life. He put the bead of life back into his abdomen and used Xian energy to guide the divine energy into the bead of life. As strands of divine energy entered, Luli was delighted. He used to think that divine energy was of little use. But now it was precious. Luli only came out after he absorbed all the divine energy into his bead of life. He used the bead of life to generate feather wind. He checked again and again to make sure that the divine energy was not dispersed. Then, he continued to cultivate. Luli cultivated and generated feather wind at the same time. When there was enough feather wind, he would control it to attack the city of Asmodean God. He had to wake up every other day to control the feather wind to attack the city of Asmodean God. That being said, the Asmodean Lord never showed up. Luli did not know where he was. There were many Asmodeans in the city of Asmodean God. They were retreating in batches. The Asmodean Lord must have given the order. The teleportation formations in the city glowed. Those Asmodeans must have been teleported back to the entrance of the eastern land of oceans. They retreated in batches. Luli did not try to find the entrance to pursue them or enter the eastern land of oceans. Over the course of history, many chosen warriors had entered the 4 alien lands and were defeated. Luli did not want to go and court his own death. If the Asmodean Lord used the originator artifact, how powerful would he be? Unimaginable. Even though he hated the Asmodean Lord to the core, Luli did not think about killing him right now. He knew his limits. He had to destroy the city of Asmodean God first, so that the Asmodeans would not have a place to take root. By then, the Asmodean Lord would have to retreat to the eastern land of oceans, because humans could invade the eastern land of oceans at any time. Luli did not mind the Asmodean Lord not showing up. He continued to study the line diagram, cultivating and attacking the city of Asmodean God. As time went by, the number of Asmodeans in the city dwindled. In half a month, more than half had left. The shield of the city was weakening. Luli rested for a day and then resumed his cultivation and attacks. The demons in the city continued to teleport away. After 20 days, there were less than 300,000 demon soldiers left in the city. The demons aren't withdrawing? Are you going to keep the 300,000 to accompany him in death? Luli blinked. He used psychic power to check the city. All the resources and mystical materials in the city had been taken away. He was sure that the demons had indeed retreated. Were these 300,000 people left behind to be buried with them? Or were they plotting something? Continue the siege. 5 days later, something strange happened. The city's barrier suddenly opened, and the 300,000 soldiers who were guarding the city flew out of the city at lightning speed. Then, all of them disappeared in the air. There really is a trick. Luli could not afford to be careless. He pulled himself together and used psychic power to check the surroundings. At the same time, he used feather wind to sense the surroundings. Whoosh, 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 the space around the feather wind castle began to tremble. Following that, many Asmodeans came out and dashed toward Luli. Luli let the Asmodeans rush into the castle. When the Asmodeans broke through the walls, they were attacked by the feather wind. The Asmodeans fell down with their heads in their hands. Boom, 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 it was an interesting scene in the sky. The Asmodeans came out one by one and then fell down with their heads in their hands. It was as if moths were flying towards the furnace in midair. Then, they were burned to death one by one and fell to the ground. Human wave tactic? You want to break down my feather wind castle? Then, the Asmodean Lord will deal a fatal blow? Luli sneered to himself. 300,000 low-level Asmodeans could not break down his feather wind castle. Even if they did, so what? He could enter the wicked bead at any time. Something is not right, Luli thought about it. The Asmodean Lord would not be so stupid as to let the Asmodeans sacrifice themselves for nothing. If so, the Asmodean Lord must be up to something. Considering that the Asmodean Lord had been missing for such a long time, the Asmodean Lord must be planning something. I don't care what you are up to. I will destroy your city of Asmodean God first. Luli flew the feather wind castle toward the city of Asmodean God. More and more Asmodeans were coming. But each time, they could only break down 1 or 2 layers of walls. Luli could fill up the gaps with the feather wind. Great-grandpa, come out and smash the city. Father, keep an eye out. This time, Luli could not afford to be careless. He asked Patriarch of Law Enforcement and Lu Renhuang to come out. The two were to bombard the city, while Luli kept an eye on the surroundings. Lu Renhuang was ready to send reinforcements at any time. Hoi! Patriarch of Law Enforcement made many hand shadows. Luli used the feather wind to dodge, and then repaired the walls to prevent the Asmodeans from invading. Patriarch of Law Enforcement's attacks were brutal. The city was leveled to the ground. Boom, 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 the Asmodeans swarmed over and charged at the city with no regard for their lives. Luli was tense. He kept an eye on the surroundings, ready for the Asmodean lord's sneak attack. Something is not right. Asmodeans fell down with their hands over their heads. The foundation of the city was shattered by Patriarch of Law Enforcement. It would be difficult to repair the city. Still, the Asmodean lord did not show up. Everything seemed normal. But this normalcy made Luli feel something was not right. Something must be wrong if something was out of the ordinary. Be careful. Let's go. The city had been destroyed anyway. Luli was in no hurry. He let everyone back into the wicked bead and dashed in himself. Then, he turned the feather wind into dragons of wind that whooshed to all sides. He flew the wicked bead toward the other side of the valley. Many Asmodeans that had come back to their senses were shocked to see Luli running away. The remaining Asmodeans were anxious. They dashed toward the wicked bead in a frenzy, trying to stop Luli from leaving by overwhelming him with numbers. Something is wrong. Luckily, I am cautious. Luli dashed on in the wicked bead, smashing away one Asmodean warrior after another without any hesitation. Stop chasing him. Come back. Seeing that Luli had gone into the valley and a burly man appeared in the sky above the city, the Asmodean lord sighed with pity. In his hand was a black skull glowing in a red light. Many places under the city were glowing in the same red light. Luli had an idea. The Asmodean lord did have a plan. He went back to the eastern land of oceans to retrieve the originator artifact of the Asmodeans. He wanted to build a formation here to trap Luli and the wicked bead. The Asmodean lord had thought that Luli would at least blast the city before he left. Little did he know that Luli had left before the formation was finished. The Asmodean lord had wasted his chance. Maybe this man is the doom of the Asmodeans? The Asmodean lord murmured to himself. Then, he snorted coldly. In 7 or 8 years at most, the demonists will come. Luli, I will let you enjoy this for a few years. When the demonists come, I will see how you die. All listen up. Retreat to the eastern land of oceans. Whoosh, 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 hundreds of thousands of Asmodeans followed the Asmodean lord to the southwest. They did not go into the cracks in space. Soon, they vanished into the horizon. Finally, they are leaving? In the valley, the wicked bead had returned. Looking at the Asmodeans flying away, Luli put on a smile. Finally, he had won. Asmodean lord, wait for me. Luli did not go after them. A glint of coldness rose in his eyes. He used psychic power to check on the Asmodeans in the distance and said coldly, "Give me a couple of years. I will kill my way to the eastern land of oceans and wipe out the Asmodeans. I will avenge my third great-uncle and all the humans that have died." P.S. 4 chapters, 1 left. 11 left. Monday, please vote. Chapter 858. Central Plains, Mystic Armor City. The Lu family had settled down a long time ago. Lu Xingyang enjoyed a high prestige in the family, much higher than Lu Xingtan. Lu Xingyang was very powerful. He used to rank 8th on the warlord list of the Central Plains. What was more, Luli and Lu Renhuang had prestige. Who else in the Lu family would not be convinced? Almost all the families of the Central Plains that were hostile to the Lu family had entered the demon-slaying grounds. The alliance between the great Buddhist temple, tumulus of universe, pavilion of delicacy and the other forces made the Lu family as stable as a mountain. Therefore, Lu Xingyang's life had been peaceful recently. The only thing that worried him was the situation in the demon-slaying grounds. Because all the entrances to the battlefield were sealed, the divine Great Land could not receive any news. In a castle on the mystic Armor Mountain, Lu Xingyang came out after several days of cultivation. He went to the Hall of Patriarchs and asked Great-Grandfather 5, Uncle 5, is the entrance to the demon-slaying battleground still closed? No. Great-Grandfather 5 shook his head and said, the entrance has been closed. No news has come. Lu Xingyang frowned. The entrance had been closed for a long time. The last news they received was that the Heaven Blood City, the Earth Blood City, and the Monster Blood City had fallen. To prevent the 4 alien races from invading the Great Land, the demon-slaying hall decided to seal all the entrances. Nothing will happen, right? Lu Xingyang murmured. There was nothing they could do now that the entrance was sealed. All they could do was wait here quietly. Whoosh! Half an hour later, a deacon of the Lu clan rushed in and reported happily, Patriarch, Grand Elder, the entrance is open. Someone from our Lu clan has returned. Young Master Yi Luo is back with his men. They will arrive at the Mystic Armor City in the time it takes for 1 incense stick to burn. Alright. Lu Xingyang smiled. If Yi Luo could come back, it meant that the war was not as difficult as it used to be. There might be a turning point. Go. Lu Xingyang was in a hurry. He left the Hall of Patriarchs with Great-Grandfather 5 and a group of patriarchs and deacons to greet them at the gate. Whoosh, whoosh, many people in the city of Mystic Armor were alarmed. They followed Lu Xingyang and flew toward the city gate. Lu Hongyu had been living in the city of Mystic Armor recently. Hearing that Yi Luo was back, she hurried to catch up. Swish, very quickly, a group of people flew over from the north. Most of the soldiers from the Lu clan who had gone to participate in the battle had returned. Only a few were missing. They might have died in battle. Yi Luo. When Lu Hongyu saw Yi Luo flying towards her from afar, she cried out in joy and tears rolled down her cheeks. During this time, she could not sleep at all, worrying that Yi Luo would die at the demon-slaying grounds. Yi Luo smiled when he saw Lu Hongyu. They sped up and arrived at the city gate. An elder of the Lu family knelt down and said, Greetings, family king, great elder and 8th patriarch. Greetings, Grandpa Lu, 5th great-grandfather, Grandpa. Yi Luo bowed. Lu Hongyu could not help but miss him. She flew into Yi Luo's arms. Get up, everyone. Lu Xingyang waved his hand and asked the patriarch of the Lu family, How is the demon-slaying battleground? Where are Ren Huang and Lier? The Lu clan's elder said happily, The crisis of the 4 clans has been resolved. Young Master Li and the young clan head are now chasing after the allied forces of the 4 clans. Elder Lei asked us to come back first to inform you so that you won't worry. Good, good. Lu Xingyang and Great-Grandfather 5 were relieved as long as Lu Renhuang and Lu Li were fine. Yi Luo patted Lu Hongyu's back and bowed to Lu Xingyang. Congratulations, Grandpa Lu. From today on, the Lu family will be the most powerful family of the Great Land. What? Lu Xingyang was taken aback. Great-Grandfather 5's eyes glowed. The other patriarchs and deacons of the Lu family were taken aback. The title of the most powerful family was not just for show. The patriarch of the Lu family could not help but smile. He explained, Young Master Li has killed Zhizhantian. He is now the Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall. What? Everyone was stunned. They looked at each other, and their faces were filled with astonishment. Lu Li could kill Zhizhantian and become the Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall? Yi Luo added with admiration, Not only did Lu Li kill Zhizhantian, but he also defeated the Asmodean Lord. He led the human race to defeat the allied forces of the 4 alien races. He is the well-deserved chosen warrior of the human race. Good. Lu Xingyang came back to his senses. A smile blossomed on his stoic face. He could not contain his joy. The Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall, the chosen warrior of the human race, the guardian of the human race. That was his grandson, his grandson. Lu Li had become the most powerful warrior of the human race. Ji Zhantian had died. Who else could threaten Lu Li? Who else could stop the rise of the Lu family? In a few decades, the Lu family would become the second Samsara palace. It would not be a dream for them to unify the world. Lu Li has become so powerful? Lu Hongyu could not come to her senses for a long time. She remembered the first time Lu Li came back to the Lu family. He was a bumpkin, stubborn, protective, arrogant. She remembered clearly how Lu Li made a scene at the Hall of Patriarchs and killed a patriarch in the city of mystic armor. Then, Lu Zhengtan exiled him to the Omen Island. In the end, Great-Grandfather 5 saved him and he went back to the northern desert alone. Back then, Lu Hongyu thought that Lu Li would never amount to anything great in this life. She thought that he would spend the rest of his life in a small place like the northern desert. It had only been a few years. Not only had Lu Li risen, he had become the most powerful warrior of the human race. The Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall, the glory of the Lu family because of Lu Li. The river flows east for 30 years and then west for 30 years. But, the patriarch of the Lu family interrupted Lu Hongyu's thoughts. That patriarch continued with sorrow. This time, no one from the allied forces died. Great-Grandfather 3 unfortunately passed away. Many of us died as well. Also, Patriarch Jiang Tianshun was poisoned by the voodoo poison and is frozen. Family Patriarch, please send a message to the Jiang family. Uncle 3. Brother 3. The smiles froze on Lu Xingyang and Great-Grandfather 5's faces. Great-Grandfather 3 was Great-Grandfather 5's brother, one of the few surviving forefathers of the Lu family. It was a surprise that he had passed away. Where is Uncle 3's body? Lu Xingyang asked, trying to hold back his grief. The patriarch of the Lu family shook his head. Great-Grandfather 3 was killed by the Asmodean Lord himself. His body was torn apart. The Demon-Slaying Hall has kept a low profile and sent him to the Palace of Martyrs for a proper burial. Yes, Uncle 3 died for the sake of the human race. He died for the greater good. It was a worthy death. Send out my order. Build a cenotaph for Uncle 3 and the deceased, so that future generations of the Lu family can worship them. Lu Xingyang waved his hand after a moment of silence. Then, he said to Patriarch 8, go to the Jiang family in person. Let the Jiang family be prepared. Patriarch 8 went to the Pavilion of Delicacy with the Patriarch who sent the message. When the news reached the Jiang family, the entire Pavilion of Delicacy was in an uproar. For the Pavilion of Delicacy, it was a mixed blessing. If Lu Li could not cure the voodoo poison, then Jiang Wu would die and the Jiang family would lose a powerful support. However, Lu Li had become the Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall, the chosen warrior of the human race. It meant that the Jiang family had gained a new support, one that was more powerful than Jiang Tianshun. Chapter 859. The demon-slaying city was lively. First, Patriarch Lei sent people to treat the wounded and collect the bodies outside the city to be buried at the Palace of Martyrs. Then, he ordered the city to celebrate and everyone would be rewarded according to their contributions. The demon-slaying hall was the most powerful force of the human race, not only because of the number of powerful warriors, but also because of the abundance of mystical materials. The demon-slaying hall occupied more than half of the small worlds at the Great Land, such as the Blood Realm where Ji Mengtian was exiled. The mystical materials in those small worlds belonged to the demon-slaying hall. Together with the offerings from the families, the demon-slaying hall had more mystical materials than any other force, even more than the 12 royal families put together. Those who participated in the battle were rewarded according to their contributions. Everyone was given many treasures and mystical materials. The demon-slaying hall was rich and didn't mind. Everyone in the demon-slaying city was in high spirit. After so many years of oppression, the human race had finally won. Finally, they wouldn't have to live in fear anymore. Several days later, Luli came back. He told the Asmodeans that the 2 cities were destroyed and that the Asmodean lord had retreated to the eastern land of oceans. The entire city was in an uproar. Once again, the city was in high spirit. The demon-slaying city was large, but there were too many warriors. As soon as Patriarch of Law Enforcement came out, he ordered the families to send reinforcements back to the Great Land. The warriors of the demon-slaying city began to rebuild the monster-slaying city. Uncle 9 of the June family, come out. Luli went into a manor and let Lu Renhuang and Jiang Qiling out. He shouted at once. Soon, a man came out. He dropped to one knee next to Luli and saluted. Young master. Where is the master of voodoo race? Luli asked. Is the voodoo poison cured? No, Uncle 9 of the June family answered bitterly. The master of voodoo race committed suicide before I could search his soul. Jiang Qiling turned pale. She asked in a trembling voice, Where is my grandpa? He is still frozen. Uncle 9 of the June family bowed and said, Young master, I am sorry. Please punish me. Rise. Luli knew that Uncle 9 of the June family was not to blame. The master of voodoo race was too cruel. The master of voodoo race must have known that Uncle 9 of the June family captured him to get the antidote. Since he could not live, he might as well commit suicide. Where is Ling Wuxin? Uncle Lu asked coldly. How is she doing? It hasn't been developed yet. The 9th Lord of the June family shook his head and said, I went to check on her a few days ago. She is still in isolation. I don't think there are any results yet. Let's go take a look. This time, many people were poisoned. Just the deacon elders alone numbered more than 100. It was said that there were also people from the great Buddhist temples Yi and Lu families. The most important thing was Jiang Tianshun. If he could not be cured, Jiang Qiling would be devastated. Jiang Tianshun treated her well, and he was one of the few family members she acknowledged. Patriarch of Law Enforcement was in charge of the demon-slaying hall, so Luli didn't want to worry too much. Jiang Tianshun and the others were Luli's top concerns. The group walked toward a castle. Lung Wuxin had been working on the antidote for quite some time now. There was a deacon guarding at the door. He was responsible for cooperating with Lung Wuxin. Seeing Luli, the deacon dropped to his knees and said, Grand Master, lords. Get up. Luli waved his hand. He thought about it and said, From now on, you don't have to kneel to me. Tell everyone at the demon-slaying hall that they don't have to kneel to me. Luli didn't need others to kneel to establish his authority. Luli was only in his 20s. He was afraid that his life would be shortened if a bunch of old guys knelt to him. Thank you, Grand Master. The deacon stood up and led the way. They walked into the hall of the castle and saw many kinds of mystical materials. Lung Wuxin was making pellets at the moment. She was holding a scroll in her hand to compare. Her pretty face was paler than before. I see that Ling Wuxin is not slacking off. Luli relaxed a bit when he saw how tired Ling Wuxin was. Ling Wuxin cleared her throat. She bowed to Luli and said, Young master. Luli nodded. Jiang Qiling couldn't wait to ask, Young Lady Ling, is the antidote for the voodoo poison ready? Ling Wuxin's eyes dimmed down. She sighed and said, I am sorry, not yet. Young master, please give me some more time. How long? Luli asked. If it were too long, Jiang Tianshun and the others might not be able to hold on. The voodoo poison was horrifying. Even though they were frozen, the poison was still spreading. I am not sure. Ling Wuxin shook her head and said, The Heaven Reverse Universe does not have the 3 kinds of elixirs. I have tried many substitutes but none of them worked. If I cannot find any substitutes, I will not be able to make it. 3 kinds of elixirs? Luli raised his eyebrows and asked, Are you sure you can make it with the 3 kinds of elixirs? Yes. Lung Wuxin answered with pride. I have been working on the voodoo poison for a long time. It is not complicated. It is much weaker than the poisons I made before. If I can find the 3 kinds of elixirs, I will definitely be able to make the antidote. Give me the information. I will send someone to find them. Luli waved his hand. He believed that the entire Heaven Reverse universe and so many small worlds could not find the 3 kinds of elixirs or substitutes. No, Lung Wuxin shook her head and said, I have gone through all the books and secret histories of the demon-slaying hall. None of the 3 elixirs can be found in the Heaven Reverse universe. There are very few substitutes and the effects are different. Luli asked with a frown, Where can we find the 3 kinds? All the families in the 9 universes should have them. Lung Wuxin said. She added after some thoughts, Also, the prison of ice and the prison of wind can be found. 2 of the 3 are from the prison of ice and 1 from the prison of wind. They are quite common. All the families in the 9 universes should have them. Prison of ice? Prison of wind? 9 universes. Luli was taken aback. The prison of ice and the prison of wind were the top 5 levels. They were dangerous places, especially the prison of wind, which was the 7th level. Not even Earth Immortal Realm warriors could make it back alive. As for the 9 universes, it was even more dangerous. Powerful warriors were everywhere. More importantly, if he were to go there, once he was noticed by the Mage Imperial Universe or the Divine Imperial Universe, he would be hunted down. By then, he might not be able to make it back. Last time, he even smuggled his way back after much effort. Prison of ice, prison of wind? I think I should go and explore. She heard from Luli about the prison of ice and the prison of wind. Since Luli could go back and forth safely, she thought it would not be dangerous. Nonsense. Luli scolded her at once. Lu Renhuang's eyes glowed as he said, I will go. Luli, I have been to the prison of wood and I am familiar with it. Also, I have been looking forward to the prison of ice for a long time. To reach the semi-god realm, I must learn a powerful profound meaning of ice. For me, the prison of ice is a holy land. Luli shook his head and said, Father, it is dangerous there. There are many powerful warriors in the prison of gold. Dangerous? Chapter 860. Ever since his wife passed away, Lu Renhuang's heart had been frozen. Apart from his 2 children and his family, he had devoted all his time to studying martial arts. Now that his son and daughter had grown up and were more accomplished than he was, he had nothing to worry about. His father had recovered. Lu Renhuang didn't have to worry about the Lu family anymore. He could focus on martial arts now. He went to the prison of wood and yearned for the purgatory of primordial chaos. He was especially fascinated by the prison of ice. If he wanted to learn a 9th rank profound meaning of ice, the prison of ice would be the best place. Luli said nothing, seeing how determined his father was. He looked at him for a while and made sure that he could not change his mind. He nodded and said, Okay. Thank you, father. Lung Wuxin, go with you. Also, I will send 5 Earth Immortal Realm warriors with you. You will go to the prison of ice at once. Keep a low profile and don't let others see you. I don't want Earth Immortal Realm warriors with me. That will expose me. Lu Renhuang knew that those Earth Immortal Realm warriors were captured by Luli from the major families. Luli could defeat all of them. Sending a group of Earth Immortal Realm warriors with him was pointless. Instead, it would expose him. Right. Bring 2 patriarchs from the demon-slaying hall with you. They can look after each other. Luli nodded and said, Take this Zen bead. It can contain beasts of primordial chaos. Lung Wuxin, Uncle 9 of the Jun family. Tell my father about the prison of ice and the prison of wind and give him the information. Okay. Leng Wuxin nodded. Lu Li went out with Jiang Qiling to visit Jiang Tianshun and learn about the situation in the city. Jiang Tianshun and company were all frozen. There were more than 2,000 formidable martial artists and soldiers. All of them were poisoned. Those who were poisoned earlier were all dead now. Jiang Tianshun and the other Earth Immortal Realm warriors were stable. They should be able to hold on for a year or two. After all, Earth Immortal Realm warriors were physically strong. As for the warriors and human Sovereign Realm warriors, they could hold on for half a year or a year. Whoosh, coming out from the ice room, Lu Li saw a man passing by. He took a look and saw that it was Yi Cha. Lu Li didn't have time to deal with Yi Cha and the others. Now, he saw Yi Cha and asked with a smile, Yi Cha, what is it? Meng Ji is dead. Yi Cha was in pain. Lu Li was taken aback. Previously, when they were fighting against the 4 alien races, Lu Li saw the Titan race and the Mammoth race. However, he didn't have time to care about it. At that time, he was focused on killing the experts of the 4 clans. He didn't expect that Meng Ji would actually die in battle. How many people from your 3 clans died? Lu Li said with sorrow. Yi Cha thought about it and said, about a dozen. Meng Ji was killed by an Asmodean Earth Immortal Realm warrior. But he killed many powerful warriors of the 4 alien races. It is not a bad thing. Yes, let's take his body back to the deserted world for a proper burial. Lu Li sighed. Then, he waved his hand and said, no, take me to your ancestral land. Your ancestral land is with the Yiksha race? When you go back this time, take back the ancestral land. Ancestral land? Yi Cha was startled, then he knelt down in joy and said, thank you, Holy Lord. You're welcome. This is what you deserve. Lu Li shook his head, thought about it and said, can you undo the inhibition formations in that small world? Move your clansmen out of here. Later, I will ask the Lu family and the Jiang family to help you drive out the Yiksha race and take back your ancestral land. Also, the Titan race and some other ancient races that are willing to go to your side can be brought over. I will help you get a bigger piece of land. How about 10 regions for each race? Lu Li once promised Yi Cha, Meng Ji, and God of Meng that he would lead their races back to the Central Plains. Now, he had the ability, but God of Meng and Meng Ji had died in battle. Enough, enough. Yi Cha nodded. Currently, the number of races was small. 1 region was enough. 10 regions would be enough for the races to develop quickly. Okay, go and make the arrangement. I think I will go back to the Inferno in a while. Come with me. Lu Li waved his hand. He was ready to go back to the Inferno when the situation here was stabilized. As for the demon-slaying hall, he didn't miss it at all. Patriarch of Law Enforcement would take care of it. Lu Li went to Patriarch of Law Enforcement and sent someone to check on the 4 alien races and explained his intention. Patriarch of Law Enforcement didn't say anything. As long as the situation was stable and the 4 alien races would not invade the human race anytime soon, it didn't matter where Lu Li lived. The demon-slaying city could hold out for a while. Lu Li could teleport over. The reinforcement army of the Central Plains was sent back. Peace returned to the demon-slaying hall. Apart from some deaths and a new Grand Master, nothing else changed. As the army went back, the news spread across the entire Great Land. The 9 plains were shaken as if there was an earthquake of magnitude 10. The Pavilion of Blossoms, Hades Society, Yiksha Race, and the Life League were in a state of panic. Their clan masters were killed and their backers in the demon-slaying hall were almost wiped out. Lu Li had become the leader of the human race. The 4 alien races would be dealt with. Retreat. The Hades Society and the Yiksha race were decisive. They began to evacuate at once. Every major family controlled a small world. Mystical materials were scarce in the small world, and it would be hard for them to develop. That being said, staying at the Central Plains would only lead to destruction. Even if Luli didn't deal with them, they had offended so many families over the years. They would still be wiped out by the other families. If they ran away now, they could transfer the wealth and mystical materials accumulated by their families over the years and save their powerful warriors and families. As the Hades Society and the Yiksha race left, the Pavilion of Blossoms and the Life League panicked. They left as well. As for the remaining disciples of the G family, they had left a long time ago. The situation at the Central Plains had changed. As the royal families left, many territories became vacant. Many mines, mystic veins, farms, and other treasured lands became unclaimed. Of course, none of the families dared to occupy those lands. Luli and the Lu family didn't say anything. Who would dare to fight for those lands? The remaining royal families were worried. Luli and the Lu family were too powerful. If Luli or the Lu family wanted to unify the Great Land, who could stop them? In the old days, the demon-slaying hall was supreme. They rarely interfered in the affairs of the Great Land. But they had been controlling the families of the Great Land in secret, preventing any family from becoming too powerful to unify the world. Now, the demon-slaying hall was Lu Li's boss. Patriarch of law enforcement was the forefather of the Lu family. Lu Renhuang could defeat many Earth Immortal Realm warriors on his own. There was also Lu Ling. The Lu family was too powerful. If Lu Li wanted to unify the world, any family that dared to resist would be destroyed. Lu Li, do you want to unify the world? In the demon-slaying city, Patriarch of law enforcement asked Lu Li this question before he left. The scouts that went to the 4 alien races had come back. All the entrances to the Asmodeans had been sealed. The rest of the teams had gone back. Only a small number of powerful warriors were left to guard the cities. The 4 alien races wouldn't attack the humans for the time being. Unify the world? Lu Li had never thought about this before. He frowned when he was asked. After a while, he replied, I don't care. Unifying the world or not, it doesn't matter. You have to ask my sister. She prefers to be an empress. Chapter 861. As far as Lu Li was concerned, absolute power was the most important thing. What was the point of being an emperor? He was the Grand Master of the demon-slaying hall, the most powerful man in the world. What else could he do to unify the world apart from getting some mystical materials and resources? Patriarch of law enforcement frowned. He said after some thoughts, Lu Li, if it is not necessary, don't unify the land. Lu Li was surprised. Why? Because it will affect the competition among humans. Patriarch of law enforcement said, the demon-slaying hall can unify the land easily. But the demon-slaying hall never gets involved in the disputes of the land, at least not openly, because they are afraid of affecting the competition among humans. Why are humans growing stronger? Patriarch of law enforcement continued, it is because of the selfishness and greed of humans. Everyone wants more good things, more status, power, fame, interests, and beauties. This will trigger the competition among humans and stimulate their fighting spirit. Also, wars and hatred can promote the birth of powerful warriors. Humans have desires, fighting spirit, hatred, and dispute. Only by doing so can powerful warriors be born. Once humans lost their drive to improve themselves, they would gradually sink and fall into decline. Back then, Emperor of Heaven Reverse could have destroyed the 4 alien races, but he stayed. He did so to leave hidden dangers and pressure for humans. Humans are a race of inertia. They live in hardship and die in peace. If you unify the land, all the good things will be fought over. The other families and humans will not be able to compete with you. They will lose their motivation. Those families will wither and even disappear. In the end, there will be a bloated and decaying Lu family at the Great Land. When you are alive, it will be fine. But when you grow old or you fly to the divinity, the future generations of the Lu family will only enjoy your remaining years. The future generations of the Lu clan will only enjoy your afterlife, basking in the glory you left behind. Eventually, generations will decay and each generation will be worse than the previous one. You can imagine it. A huge Lu family, a decaying Lu family, monopolizing all the resources of the land. What will happen? Luli gasped. He could not help but add, by then, the Lu family will be attacked by all. The Lu family will cease to exist. Yes. Patriarch of Law Enforcement nodded, you understand. You decide on your own. I will not get involved in the Lu family's business. I will take care of the demon-slaying hall. Don't worry and go back. Luli cupped his fists and bid farewell. He walked out of the hall with Lu Renhuang, Jiang Qiling and the others. They took the teleportation formation to the entrance and went back to the north of the Mystic Armor City. As for Leng Wuxin, she was left here to continue developing the antidote. As soon as Lu Li and the others teleported out, the patriarch of the Lu family guarding outside knelt and saluted. They looked at Lu Li with passion. One of them quickly went back to the Lu family to tell them that Lu Li had come back. By the time Lu Li and the others arrived at the city of Mystic Armor, Lu Xingyang and Great-Grandfather 5 were waiting outside the city with a group of people. This time, Lu Li had won a complete victory. He had saved the human race and built the Lu family's unparalleled ambition. Not to mention the Lu clan, even if the entire human race came to welcome him, it would not be too much. Welcome back, young lord. Young Master Li has returned victorious. Outside the city, countless members of the Lu clan roared. Lu Li had won the highest honor for the Lu family. From now on, disciples of the Lu family could do whatever they wanted at the Great Land. Lu Li's emotions were complicated as he looked at the Lu family disciples dropping to their knees and their expressions of admiration and fanaticism. Once upon a time, the Lu family was so unwelcoming to him. Many Lu family disciples looked at him coldly. But now they were so fanatical. The contrast was stark. Lu Li, I am proud of you. Lu Xingyang was beaming from ear to ear. He had always been strict with Lu Renhuang and rarely smiled. But he could not be strict with this outstanding grandson of his. His eyes were filled with affection. Grandpa. Lu Li bowed with respect. He did not act arrogantly just because he was the Grand Master of the demon-slaying hall. Lu Renhuang bowed as well. Jiang Qiling said in a well-behaved manner, Grandpa. Okay. Let's go to the mountain of mystic armor. Lu Xingyang took Lu Li's arm and flew toward the mountain of mystic armor. He was proud as if no one knew that Lu Li was his grandson. Back at the mountain of mystic armor, they went to worship their ancestors and then to the cenotaphs of Great-Grandfather 3 and the others. Finally, they went back to the main hall. Lu Li, I need to go back to the city of delicacy. Jiang Qiling was bored since Lu Li had something to discuss. She thought she might as well go back to the city of delicacy. Jiang Qiling had grown up since she was married. She knew that Jiang Hua and the others must be worried. She went back to comfort them. Okay. Lu Li sent 3 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to escort Jiang Qiling back. He said that he would pick her up in a couple of days and pay a visit to his father-in-law, Jiang Hua. At the same time, Lu Li sent someone to the Inferno City to ask Lu Ling to come out. After all, the situation at the Central Plains had changed. They must discuss how to deal with the situation. Lu Xingyang asked about the situation at the demon-slaying city. Lu Renhuang and Lu Li answered some questions. The patriarchs of the Lu family were excited. They wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. Lu Xingyang told them about the situation at the Central Plains, but Lu Li didn't say much, which made the patriarchs of the Lu family even more anxious. After a while, Patriarch 4, Lu Dixian, could not help but ask, Lu Li, this time, the Pavilion of Blossoms, Yeksha Race, Life League, Hades Society and Samsara Palace have been destroyed and some have escaped. What do you think about the empty territories? Lu Li glanced at the Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves. He was amused. These patriarchs were all ambitious. They must be waiting for him to give the order so that they could go out and fight for territories and even unify the world. Lu Xingyang turned to Lu Li. His eyes were glowing. He was looking forward to it. After all, it was the ambition of every family patriarch to expand their territory. This could be recorded in the family history. If the Lu family could unify the world in his generation, he would leave a mark in the history of the Lu family. Lu Li thought for a while and told Lu Xingyang what Patriarch of Law Enforcement said. He added, "I don't think it is necessary to unify the continent. After all, the Great Land is not that tempting to me. The Inferno is the most valuable land." Lu Xingyang was in deep thought. He had to take Patriarch of Law Enforcement's words seriously. Patriarch of Law Enforcement's words seemed to make sense. Maybe the Lu family could soar after unifying the continent now. But in the long run, it was not a good thing. They were born in troubles and perished in peace. If the Lu family became the dominator of the continent, the disciples of the Lu family would be the supreme disciples of the royal family. Everyone would be arrogant and willful. No matter how strong the Lu family was, after thousands of years, the Lu family would decay and eventually be wiped out. The patriarchs and deacons in the hall were disappointed to hear Lu Li's words. They had been thinking about this recently. They had been dreaming of becoming the dominator of the continent and monopolizing resources. But now, Lu Li had poured cold water on their dreams. Lu Li glanced over to the others in the hall and grinned. He said something that cheered them up. "You cannot unify the continent, but you can divide up some territories. You can make a plan. You can work with the great Buddhist temple and pavilion of delicacy to divide up the territories of the 5 forces. P.S. 4 chapters continue to exchange debt, 10 chapters. More recommendation votes. Chapter 862. Dividing up territories was wonderful. Territories represented countless mystical materials, vassal forces and many more positions. With territories and mystical materials, a family could support more people and attract more powerful warriors to join them. The family could grow stronger. When a man achieved greatness, all his friends and family could ascend to heaven. Lu Li was not a saint. The Lu family now belonged to him. Naturally, he would help the Lu family to become more powerful. The 5 families had either been destroyed or fled. Lu Li was not going to give such a large piece of land to others. Since Lu Li agreed, it was a done deal. Patriarchs of the Lu family began to discuss in excitement. How should the territories be divided? Which side should the Lu family take? Lu family would ask the great Buddhist temple, pavilion of delicacy and tumulus of universe to divide up after the decision was made. The central plains was like a piece of cake. It was divided into 12 parts. Now, 5 of the 12 parts were empty and the 4 forces would share them. Patriarchs of the Lu family discussed and decided that the Lu family would get 2 of the 5 parts and the pavilion of delicacy, the great Buddhist temple and the tumulus of universe would each have 1. With the 2 pieces of land, the Lu family would become the force with the most territory at the Great Land, which would show the Lu family's status. After the Lu family took over the 2 pieces of land, they would grow stronger and more prosperous. But which 2 pieces of land? The patriarchs of the Lu family were troubled. Of the 5 pieces of land, only the Pavilion of Blossoms was close to the Lu family, to the west of the Lu family. The other 4 pieces of land were far away from the Lu family. The Samsara Palace was at the southwest of the Central Plains, the Yaksha race at the south, the Life League at the center and the Hades Society at the northwest. The 3 pieces of land could only be connected if the Lu family gave up the territory at the east and moved to the Samsara Palace and then took over the territories of the Yaksha race and the Life League at the center. If the 3 pieces of land could not be connected, it would be difficult to manage and develop. In the end, a patriarch proposed a bold idea. The Lu family would not relocate. They would take over the territory of the Pavilion of Blossoms and the territory of the Tumulus of Universe at the southeast. In this way, the three pieces of land would be connected. The Lu family would have a large piece of land at the east and southeast of the Central Plains. It would be convenient for them to manage, develop, and defend against enemies. Of course, swallowing the tumulus of Universe's territory didn't mean destroying it. The Lu family had made a decision for the tumulus of Universe. They would give the territories of the Samsara Palace and the Yaksha race to the tumulus of Universe. The Samsara Palace's territory was the most fertile place in the Central Plains. That was where the Emperor of Heaven Reverse once lived. If the tumulus of Heaven and Earth agreed, everything would be fine. The Nether sect could be given to the Ling Long Pavilion. The Life League was to the east of the Great Buddhist Temple. The two families were probably very satisfied. After repeated discussions, Patriarch 8 invited Yi Luo, who was still living on the Mystic Armor Mountain. He told Yi Luo his preliminary idea. When Yi Luo heard this, he was both surprised and happy. He was surprised that the Lu family wanted the tumulus of Universe's territory, and happy that the tumulus of Universe could get two huge pieces of land. Naturally, Yi Luo could not make the decision for such a huge matter. He immediately teleported to the tumulus of Universe and informed the elders of the Lu family's decision, asking them to make a decision. The tumulus of Heaven and Earth was in an uproar. Yi Luo's father gathered all the higher-ups of the tumulus of Heaven and Earth for a meeting to discuss this matter. The meeting lasted for a whole day and night. Many people agreed and many people objected. The tumulus of Heaven and Earth had been operating in the southeast for hundreds of thousands of years. Many people felt uncomfortable when they were asked to give up their territory. Most importantly, if the upper echelons of the tumulus of Heaven and Earth were all transferred, what would happen to the subordinate forces? Could it be that he would turn to the Lu family? There were small forces under the big forces, and there were even smaller forces under the small forces. It was impossible to take away all of them, right? In the end, Yi Luo's father made the decision. He agreed to give up the territory and take the territory of the Samsara Palace and the Yaksha clan. The reason he gave was simple, because of Lu Li and Lu Renhuang. Given Lu family's current status, nobody could stop him if he wanted to unify the world. Lu Li was so young that he could dominate the great land for thousands of years. If they offended Lu Li, the tumulus of Universe might be wiped out, not to mention getting a piece of land. Besides, the territory of the Samsara Palace was the most fertile land in the Divine Land. Although the tumulus of Universe would have some trouble in a short time if it got the territory of the Samsara Palace and the Yaksha clan, it would be troublesome. However, as long as the tumulus of Heaven and Earth continued operating for a few hundred years, it would definitely soar. After the discussion, Yi Luo's father went to the city of Mystic Armor with the leaders of the tumulus of Universe. They had a discussion with Lu Xingyang and many things were confirmed in secret. Lu Xingyang invited the family patriarch of the Kong family of the Great Buddhist Temple and Jiang Hua over to discuss the division of territory. Jiang Hua and the Kong family patriarch were overjoyed. Who would say no to free territory? The four families discussed for several days and made all the decisions. Then, they went back to prepare. The Samsara Palace was gone and the other four families had fled. That being said, the forces under their control stayed. Many mines and other resources were taken away by those forces. The various clans were fighting for territory and resources, which would definitely cause some major powers to resist. War was unavoidable. Jiang Qiling had come to the city of Mystic Armor with Jiang Hua, but she had to go back for the war. She was the family patriarch of the Jiang family. This was a matter of great importance for the Jiang family. She must help. Lu Li sent Jiang Qiling 4 Earth Immortal Realm warriors. With so many Earth Immortal Realm warriors, it was more than enough to conquer the Hades society. The tumulus of Universe marched toward the Yaksha race and the Samsara Palace. Lu Li sent 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors to them. But Lu Li made one request. The Cyan Phoenix race and the Mammoth race had to give up 30 regions to the Titan race and the Mammoth race. 30 regions was not a big deal. The Tumulus of Universe did not say no to Lu Li's request. They agreed readily. The great Buddhist temple sent out warriors as well, but they were all from the Kong family. Lu Li sent 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors to help them as well. Lu Ling came back to command the war in person. Bai Qiuxue was in closed-door cultivation. Bai Xiaoshuang came with her, but she insisted on going with the army. Lu Li did not refuse. He did not go with the army. For him, this was pointless. It was just a one-sided slaughter. He asked the remaining Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to go with him. Lu Ling and Bai Xiaoshuang were going. Naturally, he was worried about their safety. Lu Xingyang even sent Great-Grandfather 5. The 4 forces took action at the same time. Flames of war raged across the Central Plains. The entire Great Land was shaken. The 4 forces took actions almost at the same time. Even a blind man could tell that the 4 families had finished their secret plan and were about to divide the spoils. The Palace of Heaven's roars, the Palace of Immortals' inquiries, and the Red Lunar were frightened. The 4 forces did not intend to attack them at the moment. But who could tell what the 4 forces had discussed? What if the 4 forces wanted to wipe them out and divide up the entire Great Land? Lu Li. The 3 forces thought of the key point at once. The 4 forces must have gotten Lu Li's permission to take action. It all depended on Lu Li to decide whether the 3 forces would be wiped out or not. At once, the family patriarchs of the 3 forces teleported to the city of mystic armor with generous gifts and asked to see Lu Li. On the one hand, they wanted to find out Lu Li's thoughts. On the other hand, they wanted to curry favor with Lu Li and pledge allegiance to him. Chapter 863. When the war started, the mystic armor city became very lively. Not only the leaders of the major forces, but also the leaders of many forces under the Lu family came. Of course, those people were not qualified to see Lu Li. They were just here to build relationships, to win over patriarchs of the Lu family, in an attempt to divide the territory and gain some benefit. There were also many experts teleporting over to join the Lu family. Even some hidden old monsters came to join. Why? Everything was because of benefits. If the Lu family didn't fight for territory, perhaps there wouldn't be so many experts joining them. Now that the Lu clan was clearly fighting for territory, the Lu clan might rule the world in the future. How many benefits would they get if they joined the Lu clan now? Lu Li had a headache. Many cards were placed in his castle, but he didn't want to see any of them. He had been fighting at the demon-slaying battleground for a long time. He was under great pressure. Now that he finally had the chance to enjoy some leisure time, he was bothered by so many people. I won't see a single one of them. Let Grandpa handle them. Lu Li threw the invitation to Patriarch 8. Lu Li thought about it, stood up and said, "Is there a quiet place with good scenery near the Mystic Armor region? I want to hide there for a few days." This war would not stop in a short period of time. It would at least take a few months, right? During the war, Lu Li had to control the situation. Therefore, he could not go back to the Inferno. If he stayed in the Mystic Armor City, he would be annoyed to death by a group of people. He might as well hide somewhere nearby. Patriarch 8 smiled bitterly. He thought for a while and said, "Tens of thousands of miles to the west of the Mystic Armor City, there is a Fox Fairy Pond. It is a vacation place for the Lu family. If you find it troublesome, you can stay there for a while. There's a teleportation array that can teleport you there directly." Excellent, excellent. Lu Li was overjoyed. It was not far from the city and it was quiet. Nothing could be better. He secretly followed the 8th elder to the castle in the backyard and left through the teleportation array. Buzz, the teleportation formation glowed. Lu Li used psychic power to check and found himself in a secluded valley. The scenery here was picturesque. Half of the valley was a pond, and in the middle of the pond was a beautiful island. Luli was teleported to the island. There were 7 or 8 courtyards on the island. There weren't many people in the courtyards, only a few servants, dozens of maids, and dozens of guards. Whoosh, an old man who looked like a steward flew over. He found Luli unfamiliar. He bowed and asked, "Young master, you are?" This was the Lu family's private territory. Naturally, only the descendants of the Lu family could be teleported here. The steward's attitude was still very respectful. "I'm Luli." Luli answered lazily. He checked the surroundings with psychic power and put on a smile. He was very satisfied with this place. When he had nothing to do, he would go fishing, walk around the lake, and cultivate. "Luli? Luli," the steward murmured. Then, his expression changed greatly as he knelt down heavily and shouted, "This old servant greets the young master." The steward had been guarding here for a long time. He had never seen Luli, but it didn't mean that he had never heard of Luli. Luli's name scared him to death. Luli was the most powerful person in the Lu family. Not even Lu Xingyang could compete with him. "All right, arrange a courtyard for me. I'll stay here for a few days. Don't reveal my identity, lest the servants get startled." Luli waved his hand. On second thought, he took out a mask and put it on. He was a celebrity now. Celebrities had their own troubles. He could no longer live a comfortable life like the average people. "Yes, young master." The steward was sensible. He even changed the way he addressed Luli. He arranged the best courtyard for Luli and assigned 7 or 8 maids and several powerful escorts. Luli did not mind. Now that Ji Zhantian was dead, nobody at the Great Land could threaten his safety. He could kill average Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves in an instant. What was more, he had the Wicked Bead. This time, he sent out all his Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves. He did not have any powerful warriors with him because he was strong himself. He was not afraid of anyone. Tea, fishing, swimming, daydreaming, cultivation. Luli spent 4 to 5 days in peace in the Fox Fairy Pond. Patriarch 8 must have concealed his whereabouts so nobody came to disturb him. Luli enjoyed his time. On the 6th day, the peace was broken. The teleportation formation on the island glowed. Someone was coming. Luli used psychic power to check. He frowned. It was a young master and 2 beautiful young ladies. Luli had some impression of this young master. He should be a young master from a branch of the Lu family. Luli could not remember which family he was from. There were too many disciples of the Lu family. Luli was not on good terms with the Lu family before. How could he remember so many? The 2 young ladies were beautiful and graceful. They must be from major families. But Luli did not recognize them. He wondered if they were from a branch of the Lu family. Luli put on the mask after some thoughts. The mask could hide his abilities and looks. It was of a high level. Only warriors of the Earth Immortal Realm could tell his realm and appearance. It was rare for Luli to spend some leisure time here. He did not want to be disturbed. It seemed that this young master of the Lu family was here with the 2 young ladies. They would leave after a day or 2. Luli retracted his psychic power and went back to fishing. Fishing could cultivate one's mind and mind. Luli had taken a liking to fishing recently. The young master was at the Noble Lord realm. He was talented in the Lu family. The 2 young ladies were at the Noble Lord realm as well. As soon as the young master arrived, he called over a steward and said, "Brother Lu, prepare the best yard for Lady Han and Lady Zhu." The best yard? Chief Steward Lu frowned. The best yard had been given to Luli. How could he do that? Luli had told him not to reveal his identity. Chief Steward Lu said with a smile, "Young Master Zhantian, how about I arrange the Pine Pavilion and the Lunar Pavilion for you?" Young Master Zhantian frowned. He said coldly, "What about the Moon Pavilion?" "Why not? The 2 young ladies are honored guests of the family." They are from the Palace of Immortals Inquiries and the Red Lunar. What the hell are you doing? Chief Steward Lu forced a smile and said vaguely, someone is staying at the Moon Pavilion. It is a young master of the family. Young Master Gentian, don't make things difficult for me. A young master of the family? Lu Gentian raised his eyebrows. He used psychic power to check the island and saw Luli at once. He noticed that Luli was wearing a mask and he did not recognize him. Lu Gentian asked in confusion, which young master of the family? More honorable than me? There were not many young masters of the immediate Lu family, only a few. Lu Gentian knew all of them. He did not expect to see Luli here. He thought Luli was a young master from a branch of the Lu family. Lu Gentian, on the other hand, was one of the best young masters in the branch. The two young ladies noticed that Master Lu was in a dilemma. One of them in a pink dress said, "Young Master Gentian, don't worry. Just arrange a yard for them." "How can I do that?" Lu Gentian was enraged by Master Lu's hesitation. He dashed over to Luli and shouted, "I am Lu Gentian. Give me your yard. I need to entertain some honored guest." Luli rolled his eyes. This guy was trying to get on Luli's good side. Not wanting to reveal his identity, Luli turned to Lu Gentian in midair and said, "You are going to entertain some honored guests. Why should I give up my yard? We are all disciples of the same family. Why fight over such trifles?" Luli changed his voice on purpose. As a matter of fact, Lu Gentian would not have recognized him even if he did not, because he was not qualified to approach Luli. Whoosh! Miss Han and Miss Zhu flew over, and Lu Gentian felt a little embarrassed. Luli's tone was calm and his voice was unfamiliar. Lu Gentian thought Luli was just an average disciple. Lu Gentian bellowed, "Go back to the city of mystic armor. This is not a place for you to stay." Once again, Luli learned how domineering a disciple of the Lu family could be. Without saying a word, Luli generated a huge hand and slapped at Lu Gentian. Lu Gentian was smashed into the ground, creating a pit. Chief Steward Lu came out as well. He shook his head and forced a smile when he saw Lu Gentian being smashed to the ground like a dog. Chapter 864. Luli had shown mercy. Otherwise, Lu Gentian, who was at the initial stage of the Noble Lord realm, would have been smashed to death. PFF. Lu Gentian stood up and spat out some blood. His robe was torn and his face was covered in blood. He struggled to stand up, but his eyes were spitting fire. How could he not be angry when he was slapped down in front of two beautiful young ladies? The ring on his hand glowed as a sacred artifact appeared in his hand. Filled with killing intent, he bellowed, "Do you want to die? I will grant you your wish." Sensing that something was about to happen, Chief Steward Lu said at once, "Young Master Gentian, stop or nobody will be able to save you." Lady Han and Lady Zhu did not look at Lu Gentian. They stared at Luli with curiosity in their eyes. Luli must be at least at the peak of the Noble Lord realm if he could smack Lu Gentian away. There were not many young masters at the peak of the Noble Lord realm in the Lu family at this age. Lu Swan and the others were sent to the Omen Island. Also, Lu Gentian enjoyed a high status in the Lu family. Only disciples of the immediate Lu family would have the courage to slap him. They were all familiar with disciples of the immediate Lu family. But this man was a complete stranger. A name was on the tip of their tongue. Lady Zhu was the first to figure it out. Her eyes glowed and she put on a smile. But she said nothing. She only looked at Lu Gentian with pity. Lu Gentian did not come back to his senses after being scolded by Chief Steward Lu. He raised his sword and stabbed at Luli's back. Luli did not do anything. He turned around and glared at Lu Gentian. The coldness in his eyes was like that of an enraged beast, cold and emotionless. Luli's killing intent surged out as well. Lu Gentian did not have much experience in battles. He trembled in fright when Luli glanced at him. How many people had Luli killed? Not even the average patriarchs of the Lu family could stand his killing intent, let alone Lu Zhantian. Lu Zhantian stopped in the distance. His teeth were chattering. He stammered, "Who are you?" Lady Han and Lady Zhu flew down. They bowed and said to Luli with a smile, "Young Master Li." "Young Master Li?" Lu Zhantian frowned. He trembled and asked, You are Lu Li?" Luli threw Lu Zhantian a glance and said, "What a disgrace. Go back to your family and be punished. Next time, if I hear you abuse the name of the Lu family, you will have to bear the consequences. Rend the heavens to know your wrongs." Lu Zhantian dropped to his knees at once. He had no time to worry about losing face in front of the two beautiful young ladies. He kowtowed to Luli and said, "Young Master Li, please don't be angry. I promise that this will not happen again. I will go back and receive my punishment." Lu Zhantian rose to his feet and flew toward the residence. He did not dare to stay for even a second longer. He had no time to care about the two young mistresses. Beauties were important, but if Luli was enraged, not even his father could protect himself, let alone him. At the moment, Lu Li's status in the Lu family was higher than Lu Xingyang's. One word from Lu Li could ruin the Lu family. After Lu Zhantian left, Lu Li stood up and said to the two young ladies with a smile, "Nice to meet you, young ladies. My family is unfortunate. Please forgive us." "Ha ha," the pretty young lady in the green dress smiled and said, "It's okay. Actually, we have disturbed you, young Master Li. Our fathers are having a discussion at the City of Mystic Armor. We are bored, so we asked young Master Zhantian to show us around. Ha ha, will we disturb young Master Li by staying here for a few days? Young Master Li, I am Yin Qingzhu. I am from the Palace of Immortals Inquiries. My father is Yin Tianhao. I once met young Master Li at the Buddha Mountain." Yin Qingzhu? Lu Li's eyes became misty. He remembered a stunning beauty, the blind, Yin Qingxi. The difference between the two was only one word. He wondered if he would ever see Yin Qingxi again. That blind had done him a great favor, Yin Tianhao? Soon, Lu Li realized that Yin Tianhao was the son of the master of the Palace of Immortals Inquiries. She must be one of the immediate young ladies of the Palace of Immortals Inquiries. The other lady in the pink dress bowed again and said, "I am Chen Zihan. My grandpa is Chen Tianjiao." "Young lady of the Red Lunar." Lu Li nodded and said indifferently, "If you want to stay here, do as you please. You are guests from afar. Chief Steward Lu, please entertain the two young ladies." "Thank you, young Master Li." The two young ladies were sensible. They smiled sweetly and left with Chief Steward Lu. They didn't give Lu Li another look. Lu Li shook his head. He went back to fishing and cultivated at the same time. What was the purpose of the two young ladies staying here? Lu Li was well aware that they were trying to get close to him so that the Palace of Immortals Inquiries and the Red Lunar could gain some benefit. Or they were trying to persuade Lu Li not to attack the two places. Or they were trying to seduce him with their beauty. This was a nice place. Lu Li didn't want to leave anytime soon, so he didn't mind them. They couldn't be so shameless as to offer themselves to sleep with him, could they? While cultivating, Lu Li continued to study the line diagram. He had almost finished half of the second small diagram. Also, he held the wicked bead in his hand and slowly mobilized Xian energy. The second seal of the wicked bead could be dissolved. But the speed was too slow. At this rate, it would take Lu Li at least 2 years to dissolve the second seal of the wicked bead. But cultivating here was too slow. If Lu Li were to go to the Inferno and cultivate at full speed, he could dissolve the wicked bead in over a year. The cultivation speed in the Inferno prison was extremely fast. Furthermore, the comprehension speed there was also very fast. It was a pity that Lu Li could not go back to the Inferno now. He could only leave when the situation at the Central Plains was stabilized. Otherwise, he would have to go back and forth when something went wrong. The fish were biting, but Luli turned a blind eye. Fishing was about the state of mind. If Luli wanted to catch fish, he could kill hundreds of fish with one slap. There was no time for cultivation. Soon it was moonlight. Luli opened his eyes and walked to the yard. He was here to rest and recuperate. He was not in a hurry to cultivate. Ha ha ha! He walked into his yard and was about to go to bed when he heard a girl's laughter and the sound of water splashing. Out of instinct, Luli looked to the yard next door through the window and saw a very erotic scene under the moonlight. The window of the attic across the way was open but covered by a thin veil. Faintly, Luli saw a bathtub in the opposite room. Two beautiful young ladies were taking a bath in the same bathtub. They were splashing water at each other. They were smiling and their bodies were trembling. Luli could see the beautiful scene clearly. So unrestrained, Luli was speechless. The two young ladies knew that this was his yard, but they opened the window on purpose and laughed. Were they inviting wolves into the house? Also, there were inhibition formations in the rooms. The two young ladies did not activate the inhibition formations when they were taking a bath. The meaning was clear. Clearly, they were trying to seduce Luli. If Luli just flew into their room like this, the two ladies would be so shy that they would climb onto the bed themselves. Squeak! Luli closed the window after a few glances. The two ladies were beautiful, but how strong was Luli's willpower? They must be slutty when they came to him on their own. How could Luli be interested? Alas! After Luli closed the window, the two young ladies stopped playing at the same time. There was a glint of bitterness and shame in their eyes. Chapter 865. For the next few days, Luli had a leisurely life. Every day, he would cultivate by the lake, fish, cultivate, drink tea, and enjoy the scenery. The next day, the two ladies wandered around the lake, hoping to attract Luli's attention. However, Luli had been cultivating with his eyes closed. He paid no attention to the two ladies. At night, when Luli came back, Yin Qingzhu invited him to play chess, but Luli refused. Although he appeared to be polite on the surface, deep down, he was unapproachable. On the third day, the two young ladies left. They both knew that Luli was not interested in their good looks. Staying here would only invite humiliation. Just when Luli thought everything had settled down, a few more guests came to the island on the fourth day. They were guests that Luli had to entertain. Lu Hongyu Yiyu and the First Lady of the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries, Yin Qingli, were here. Yiyu was Yi Luo's sister and they were familiar with each other. Yin Qingli was Yiyu's good friend and she came with Yiyu. Luli didn't want to be rude to her. Yin Qingli was even prettier than Yin Qingzhu. She was at the same level as Jiang Qiling and Ji Mengtian. She was even more beautiful than Night Rain. What caught Luli's attention more was, this young lady was very shy. She would blush at every turn and she didn't dare to look into Luli's eyes. If Lu Hongyu didn't tell Luli that she was the most powerful young lady of the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries, Luli wouldn't have believed it. Moreover, Yin Qingli had already reached the human sovereign realm. She deserved the title of the first young lady. Lu Hongyu secretly said that this young lady was shy and never liked to interact with men. As a matter of fact, at the auction at the City of Buddha, Luli heard the voice of this young lady. But since her face was covered, Luli had no recollection. This young lady was not only shy, but she also had another special characteristic. Her skin was especially white like cream, and crystal clear. Of course, Luli was not tempted at all. He already had 3 beauties and he had too many things to do. He was not in the mood for romance. Furthermore, if he accepted the number 1 young lady of the Immortal Inquiry Palace, she would only be a concubine, and the Immortal Inquiry Palace would probably not agree to it. Luli talked to them for a while, and asked Lu Hongyu about the situation outside. She heard that all the families were advancing smoothly. There was some resistance but they were all suppressed. He didn't care anymore and let the three of them play by themselves. He continued to live a comfortable life alone. Big bro Luli, let's go boating together. Brother Luli, aren't you bored cultivating all day? Let's go play together. We're going to have a picnic. Brotherly, can you tell me the story of the demon-slaying city? My brother never tells me, brotherly. He wanted to be quiet, but Night Rain did not let him have his way. Every day it would chatter and revolve around him. Luli didn't know what to do with this strange little girl. Back then, when he recognized her as his sister on Mount Wanfo, he was too embarrassed to ignore her, so he could only deal with her helplessly. Night Rain was not reserved at all. She would hang out with Luli, Lu Hongyu and Yin Qingli every day. Yin Qingli rarely talked. Whenever Luli looked at her, she would blush and feel shy. Luli's days were happy with the company of the three beauties. It was just that he had no time to cultivate, but Luli didn't mind the slow progress of cultivation here. Squeak, squeak. After sleeping for a few days, Little White finally woke up. Now it was even livelier. Little White ran around every day, stirring up chaos in the Fox Fairy Pond. The fish in the pond and the beasts nearby were in trouble. Half a month later, Luli's leisurely days finally came to an end. Patriarch 8 came with a piece of news. Bai Xiaoshuang was almost attacked. Lu Jingyang could not hide the news, so he told Luli the truth. Shuang'er was attacked? A glint of coldness rose in Luli's eyes. Regardless of the fact that Night Rain and Yin Qingli were here, he said angrily, are those Earth Immortal Realm warriors dead? They can't even look after her. If anything happens to Shuang'er, I will kill them all. Patriarch 8 knew that Luli would be exposed. Therefore, he did not hide the fact that Bai Xiaoshuang was attacked. Otherwise, Luli would blame Lu Jingyang and himself. When Luli lost his temper, he was quite intimidating. Both Night Rain and Yin Qingli were taken aback. But they were envious. If a man like Luli could be so angry for them when something happened to them, how happy would that be? Sister Hongyu, take care of them. I will go and have a look. Luli was in no mood to talk to Lu Hongyu and the others. He teleported to the city of Mystic Armor with Patriarch 8. As soon as he stepped out of the teleportation formation, he asked, "Where is Shuang'er? Who dares to attack her?" Kuei City of the West. Patriarch 8 explained at once. According to the information, it is the remnants of the Ji family that attacked Xiaoshuang. Where is my sister? Where is she? Luli took out a map to check. Patriarch 8 explained, Lady Ling is at the City of Blossoms in the north. I heard that Xiaoshuang went out with the army and was ambushed when they were attacking a mountain. I will go to the City of Blossoms. Luli asked no more questions. He flew toward the city with a gloomy face. Luli's swagger alarmed many people in the city. The leaders of different forces were all in the city. Many checked with psychic power. Many noticed that Luli was gloomy and full of killing intent. They wondered what was going on. An overlord of the ocean plains had been wanting to meet Luli. When he saw Luli, he flew out, trying to stop Luli in midair. Grand Master Lu, I am from the ocean plains. He shouted from the distance and flew toward Luli at a fast speed. Luli was in a state of rage. How could a warrior at the peak of the human sovereign realm, a small overlord of the ocean plains, stand in his way? Swish, swish, Luli's bead of life came out. He generated a gust of feather wind that enveloped the warrior. That warrior was struck. Luli raised his hand and slapped the man down. Whoosh! Luli didn't even look at the warrior. He dashed into the teleportation formation. Seeing that the more than a dozen warriors were frozen in fear, Luli bellowed, Are you all dead? Do you know how to activate the teleportation formation? Yes, young Master Li. Activate it now. A team leader came to his senses. He dropped to his knees and asked a group of warriors to activate the teleportation formation. The huge teleportation formation glowed and soared into the sky. Soon, Luli vanished into the teleportation formation. What is going on? Thousands of psychic powers in the city came over. They were surprised to see that the overlord of the ocean plains was smashed away by Luli. They heard Luli's angry voice. As far as many people were concerned, Luli had a good temper. That being said, the consequences would be disastrous for anyone that provoked him. Now that Luli was in such a rage, someone must have offended him. Also, many people must have lost their head. Bai Xiaoshuang was attacked? A piece of news spread out. The city was in an uproar. Bai Xiaoshuang was one of Luli's beloved wives, the apple of his eye. Who was bold enough to attack Bai Xiaoshuang? Did they want their entire family to be wiped out? P.S. Pay off your debt. You owe me 9 chapters. Chapter 866. The City of Blossoms was already under control. Those from the Pavilion of Blossoms had fled. Lu Ling took over the city at once. When the City of Blossoms was under control, Lu Li sent 6 armies to fight for the territories of the Pavilion of Blossoms. The Pavilion of Blossoms had 3 7th-rank families and many 6th-rank families. But the Pavilion of Blossoms barely put up any resistance. Only the 3 armies engaged in some minor battles. The only one that almost got into trouble was the Southern Army. The Southern Army was led by a patriarch of the Lu family. Bai Xiaoshuang was in this army. To protect Bai Xiaoshuang, Lu Ling sent 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Still, they were ambushed. Buzzing, the teleportation formation in the City of Blossoms glowed as Lu Li came out. As soon as he came out, he went into the wicked bead. After all, safety first. He used psychic power to make sure that Lu Ling was in the city and the army had taken over the city. Then, he came out. Greetings, young master. Several deacons of the Lu family rushed over and dropped to one knee in front of Lu Li. Warriors in the plaza knelt down one by one, filled with passion. Rise, Lu Li said coldly. He flew away and arrived at a manor in the city. Lu Ling was there to greet him. Brother. Lu Ling was ashamed. She wanted to say something but stopped on second thought. Forcing a smile, Lu Li said gently, Sister, it is not your fault. How is it? Have you found out? Lu Ling answered, It is the surviving forces of the Ji family. The leader is an Earth Immortal Realm warrior from the Ji family. There is another Earth Immortal Realm warrior, but I don't know where he came from. For this, Lu Fengyun is to blame. He did not listen to my orders and did not play it safe. He went in alone and insisted on taking over a vein. Lu Fengyun? Lu Li frowned. Lu Fengyun seemed to be a patriarch with real power, from great-grandfather Five's branch. He was at the middle stage of the human sovereign realm. Lu Li remembered him. Well, I will go to the Kuei city first. It had just happened. Lu Ling did not know much. She might as well go to Bai Xiaoshuang's place instead of asking questions here. Lu Ling nodded. She needed to stay here. Now that Lu Li was here, she didn't have to worry. Lu Li flew into the teleportation formation and teleported toward the Kuei city of the west. The Kuei city was a region city. Lu Li arrived in just 4 or 5 teleportations. There were over 100,000 warriors in the city, and quite a number of human sovereign realm warriors. 2 of Lu Li's Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves were here. Shuang. Lu Li used psychic power to check and found Bai Xiaoshuang. She was lying in a castle. She was pale. She must have been seriously injured. Xiao. Lu Li felt his heart ache. Disregarding the salutes of the warriors around him, he dashed into the castle directly. Master Li. There was a group of noble Lord Realm warriors of the Lu family outside the castle. They were trembling in fear when they saw Lu Li flying over with a gloomy face. Lu Li didn't look at them. He strode into Bai Xiaoshuang's room. The 2 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves were guarding outside. They dropped to their knees in guilt and said, Young master, we are sorry. Humph, Luli snorted. He went into the room, where there was a young lady from a branch of the Lu family and 2 maids serving her. The 3 of them were startled to see Luli coming in. They stood up. Get out! Luli knew this young lady from a branch of the Lu family, but he didn't know her name. He was not in the mood to talk to her. He waved her away. The young lady nodded with respect and left with the 2 maids. Luli sat on the edge of the bed, looking at Bai Xiaoshuang's pale and beautiful face. He felt sorry for her. He used psychic power to check. He was sure that Bai Xiaoshuang only had some broken ribs and some internal injuries. She had taken top-level healing pellets and was recovering. Luli was relieved. Darling, darling, in her sleep, Bai Xiaoshuang was frightened. She murmured. Luli grabbed her hand and whispered, Shuanger, I am here. Don't be afraid. Hearing his voice, Bai Xiaoshuang opened her eyes slowly. She burst into tears when she saw Luli's face. Darling, you are finally here. I almost couldn't see you again. Yes, don't be afraid. I am here. Nobody can hurt you. Luli patted Bai Xiaoshuang's hand with a smile and said with determination, Shuanger, don't worry. No matter who hurt you, I will kill them all for you. I will avenge you. Okay. Bai Xiaoshuang put her arms around Luli's waist. She couldn't stop crying. Luli comforted her for a while. Bai Xiaoshuang fell asleep again because she was too weak. When Bai Xiaoshuang fell asleep, Luli walked out in strides. He asked the young lady from a branch of the Lu family and the maids to take care of her. He looked at the 2 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves and said coldly, Tell me, what happened? They were Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves from the Feng family of the Earth Imperial Universe. The white-haired old man answered, Young master, when we went to attack a ley line, there was a maze. As soon as we got close to the ley line, the maze was activated. Then, hundreds of powerful warriors rushed out, including 2 Earth Immortal Realm soul slave. Hundreds of them targeted Madame Shuang. We tried our best to protect her, but she was injured. The other Feng family Earth Immortal Realm soul slave added, This was a premeditated attack. Their target was Madame Shuang. They retreated as soon as they failed. Since Madame Shuang was injured, we did not go after them recklessly. They all ran away. You did the right thing. Luli nodded. Bai Xiaoshuang was the most important. The surviving warriors of the Ji family could be killed slowly. If something happened to Bai Xiaoshuang, killing everyone of the Ji family would be pointless. Luli thought about it and asked, My sister said that you went deep into the enemy's territory alone and acted willfully. What is going on? The Feng family warrior was not happy. The commander heard that there is endless wealth in the ley line. He also heard that someone was secretly moving spiritual stones here. Madame Shuang is a simple-minded person and did not think too much about it. Lady Ling only told us to protect Madame Shuang. We did not say much. Luli got the gist of it. He looked outside and shouted, Lu Fengyun, come in. The commander and deputy commander of the army were outside. Hearing Lu Li's words, they swarmed in. A middle-aged human sovereign realm warrior walked in. He dropped to his knees and said with sorrow, Young Master Li, we have sinned. We have implicated Madame Shuang. Please punish us. Lu Li sat in the seat of honor, expressionless. He stared at Lu Fengyun and did not let him get up. Lu Fengyun, why did you disobey my sister's order? You went deep into the enemy's territory alone, and the enemy had set up a maze. Why didn't you send scouts? Lu Fengyun was a dignified man. However, he was stammering. After a while, he said, I am wrong. I was too impatient to get the ley line and fell into the enemy's trap. I deserve to die, whoosh. Chapter 867. Luli asked in surprise, Nightcry, why are you here? Luli promised to return the ancestral land to the Cyan Phoenix race and the Mammoth race. Yi Cha and the others had gone to take over the ancestral land. Luli thought that the Cyan Phoenix race had all gone. Little did he expect to see a patriarch here. Saint Lord! Yi Ti knelt on one knee and said, "The clan leader asked the three of us to stay in the Mystic Armor City and listen to his orders. When I learned that Madame Shuang was attacked, I immediately came to check on the situation. I have a general idea of what happened." The Cyan Phoenix race was the best scout and absolutely loyal. Luli was overjoyed. He asked, "Tell me the details." Yi Ti glanced at Lu Fengyun and reported, "Elder Lu Fengyun has been leading an army to conquer cities, and he has been plundering beautiful women everywhere he goes. A few days ago, he found a seductive fox woman. That woman was actually a spy." Lu Fengyun believed her words and rushed to the spirit vein. That was why he was ambushed by the enemy. "There is such a thing?" Luli pulled a long face. He glared at Lu Fengyun and asked, "Lu Fengyun, is this true?" "Framing, it's definitely framing." Lu Fengyun denied, "Young Masterly, there's no such thing. I, Lu Fengyun, have been an elder for more than 20 years, and I've always worked hard without complaint. Great-grandfather 5 and the family leader know me the best. Besides, the young master and I are like brothers. He knows me. Young Master Li, don't be biased." "Shut up." Luli was enraged that Lu Fengyun was talking nonsense and even mentioned great-grandfather 5, Lu Jingyang and Lu Renhuang. He shouted coldly, "I only have one question. Have you taken in a foxy race girl?" This cold sweat broke out on Lu Fengyun's forehead. He forced a smile and said, "That woman, how could that woman be a spy?" On what basis do you say that she's a spy?" Yi Ti sneered, "Because she is someone else's slave. I have already searched her soul. She is a chess piece of the Ji family." "Soul search? You killed her?" Lu Fengyun was shocked, and anger appeared on his face. He pointed at Yi Ti and shouted angrily, "Who gave you the authority to search my soul? Who do you think you are?" Whoosh! Luli dashed forward and kicked Lu Fengyun in the chest. It was a powerful kick that sent Lu Fengyun flying. A large hole was formed in the outer courtyard wall, and 3 castles were destroyed along with it before it smashed into the plaza. Lu Fengyun rolled a few times on the plaza and spat out a mouthful of blood. He struggled for a while before he could get up. His chest had caved in, and several of his ribs were broken. Wow! The square was filled with soldiers, and there was an uproar. Lu Fengyun was the commander of this army, an elder of the Lu clan, and a grandson of 5th great-grandfather. His status in the Lu family was very respected, but he was kicked out? Could it be that a powerful enemy had invaded? Whoosh! Luli flew out with his warriors and stared at Lu Fengyun coldly. Seeing that it was Luli, the warriors stayed still. This young master's prestige in the Lu family was even higher than Lu Jingyang's. "Luli!" Lu Fengyun covered his chest with his hand. Blood was oozing out from the corner of his mouth. Being kicked away in public, he felt humiliated. His face was clouded as he said angrily, "Don't be so overbearing. After all, I am a patriarch of the Lu family. I am of the same generation as your father. I am your elder." Lu Fengyun knew he had done something wrong. That being said, he was Lu Li's uncle after all. He had knelt down and apologized. Even if he were guilty, he should be punished by the Hall of Patriarchs of the Lu family. Lu Li had kicked him in public. Lu Fengyun was being disrespectful. "Elder." Lu Li sneered and said emotionlessly, "I am ashamed to have an elder like you. I don't blame you for plundering pretty girls. You know that the foxy race girl is a spy, but you are not ashamed at all. You are blaming Yi Ti for searching her soul? Are you going to betray the Lu family for a woman?" Lu Li was furious. If it were not for the fact that Lu Fengyun was the grandson of 5th great-grandfather, he would have been dead. Lu Li did not have deep feelings for the Lu family. Instead, he was closer to the Cyan Phoenix race. Lu Fengyun was frightened by Lu Li's anger. But there were warriors of the three armies and many disciples of the Lu family here. Lu Fengyun had lost his dignity. He could not hide his embarrassment. He said in a sarcastic tone, "This is indeed my fault. But even if I am wrong, the Hall of Patriarchs should be the one to convict me. Lu Li, you hurt people without saying a word. Do you have any respect for the Lu family's rules?" Ha ha ha! Lu Li laughed out of anger, seeing that Lu Fengyun was using the Lu family's rules to threaten him. He took out his bead of life and released some feather wind. Then, he generated a hand and smashed at Lu Fengyun. Boom! Lu Fengyun could not fight back against the feather wind. The hand smashed a pit on the plaza. Lu Fengyun was smashed down. This time, his body was covered in blood. He was badly injured. "Someone, take Lu Fengyun down!" Lu Li shouted. Those warriors were too scared to move. A warrior at the peak of the noble lord realm of the Lu family made up his mind and said, "Are you all deaf? Take him down." Several warriors rushed over and dug Lu Fengyun out from the pit. Lu Li looked at Lu Fengyun, who was grimacing in pain, and could not say a word. He shouted coldly, "Rules? Without me, the Lu family would not be what it is today. Who do you think you are? How dare you use the rules against me? You are a bunch of vermin of the Lu family. Believe it or not, I will exile you to the Omen Island. Take him back to the city of mystic armor at once and let great-grandfather 5 deal with him. I have shown him mercy this time, or else Lu Fengyun would be a dead man. Also, tell my grandpa to rectify the family's conduct. Anyone who dares to commit crimes, no matter who he is, must be banished from the Lu family. The Lu family does not need vermin like him." Lu Li's wrath silenced the entire city, especially the disciples of the Lu family, who were trembling with fear. They had forgotten about Lu Li's other identity, the Grand Master of the Demon-Slaying Hall, the leader of the human race. Who in the world could stop him if he wanted to kill someone, let alone the Lu family's rules? Take him back to the city of mystic armor. The noble Lord Realm warrior of the Lu family that spoke waved his hand. Several warriors carried Lu Fengyun into the teleportation formation and teleported him away regardless of his injuries. Lu Li ordered Yi Ti coldly, "Go back and send a message. Tell my grandpa to tell the world to find out where the Ji family is hiding. I, Lu Li, will owe anyone that can find out where the Ji family is. Anyone that can kill a warrior of the Ji family will be rewarded with 10,000 purple Xian crystals. If anyone dares to harbor a warrior of the Ji family, I will wipe out his entire family." What? The entire city was shocked. A favor from Lu Li? The value was immeasurable. If someone were to ask Lu Li for 10 regions in exchange of this favor, Lu Li would give it to that person without hesitation. 10,000 purple Xian crystals for one person would be 100 million Xian crystals. Killing 100 warriors of the Ji family would be worth 10 billion Xian crystals. The Samsara Palace had been destroyed, but many disciples of the immediate Ji family had escaped. There were also disciples of the collateral branches. Who knew how many of them were out there? Ji family was a super family that had dominated the Great Land for hundreds of thousands of years. How many disciples of the Ji family had been born over the years? It was impossible to estimate. Chapter 868. Lu Li's wrath shook the Great Land. Many powerful warriors of the Great Land were gathered at the city of mystic armor, just to see Lu Li. A leader of a force of the ocean plains was almost killed by Lu Li just because he wanted to talk to Lu Li. The warriors of the city of mystic armor were the first to know when Lu Li asked Lu Xingyang to inform the world. They were overjoyed. They were just worrying about how to meet Lu Li and how to build a relationship with him. Now, someone was delivering them a pillow. A favor from Lu Li. The value of such a thing was immeasurable. For example, the leaders of the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries, the Red Lunar, and the Palace of Heaven's Roars had been pestering Lu Xingyang every day. Unfortunately, Lu Xingyang never gave a clear answer. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If anyone could help Lu Li find out where the Ji family was hiding, the three forces would be saved, if not Lu Li's favor. They had found out about Lu Li's personality. He could be kind to his friends but cruel and merciless to his enemies. The great Buddhist temple and the tumulus of universe were on good terms with Lu Li but not as close as blood brothers. This time they were given 2 large pieces of land. Lu Li was generous to his friends. If they could help Lu Li this time, Lu Li would return the favor. The territories of the 3 forces could be saved. The 3 warriors flew back at once and began to track down the hiding place of the Ji family with all they had. In addition to the 3 forces, many forces of the Great Land began to take actions. The other warriors of the 9 prefectures sent out their subordinates to search for the Ji family. Some reclusive families and powerful warriors took actions. Even if they could not find the hiding place of the Ji family, they could still kill dozens of warriors of the Ji family. That would be a mountain of Xian crystals. For a moment, the entire Great Land was filled with warriors looking for the hiding place of the Ji family and the warriors of the Ji family. In addition to those families, the tumulus of universe, the great Buddhist temple, and the pavilion of delicacy began to search as well. The 3 forces were on good terms with Lu Li. But if they could help Lu Li this time, wouldn't their relationship be better? In just 2 days, the hiding place of 5 disciples of the Ji family's branch was discovered. Thousands of Ji family warriors were killed. Before the warriors of the Ji family could be sent to the Mystic Armor City, they were bought by many big families at double the price. Many grade 6 and grade 7 clans were worried that they wouldn't have the chance to form a relationship with the Lu clan. These corpses would be a great gift for them. The Ji family must have 1 or 2 secret small worlds as a secret base, just like the ancestral lands of the Lung family and the Feng family in the Central Imperial Universe. This kind of ancestral realm was the highest secret of the Ji family. It would definitely not be leaked out. It would be very difficult to find these small worlds. Furthermore, most of the Ji clan's disciples must have moved to the small world. If they didn't find the small world, they wouldn't be able to find the Ji clan's headquarters. Outsiders might not know, but the higher-ups of the Ji family definitely knew, such as the Ji family branch patriarch. Therefore, the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries, the Red Lunar, the Palace of Heaven's Roars, the Tumulus of Universe and the other forces all had their eyes on the branches of the Ji family. The Ji family had many branches all over the Great Land. Many of the branches had occupied some territory and were reluctant to abandon it, so they did not follow them into the small world. On the 3rd day, Immortal Inquiry Palace's army attacked and locked onto a Ji clan branch that was hiding in a danger zone. Over 1,000 Ji clan branch disciples were all killed by Immortal Inquiry Palace's army. It was a pity. The family patriarch of this branch blew himself up and died. He didn't get the location of the Ji family's small world. Grand Master of the Palace of Immortal Inquiry was annoyed. He scolded his eldest son who led the army. The Red Lunar and the Palace of Immortal Inquiry took action. They locked onto several Ji family branches. After they killed them, the Palace of Heaven's Roars learned the location of the Ji family's headquarters. Lu Li was informed that Patriarch 8 had come in person. Lu Li was still with Bai Xiaoshuang. He was overjoyed and asked, "Where is it?" "The Samsara region, a small world as large as the deserted world." Patriarch 8 explained, "This region was discovered by the Samsara Palace 100,000 years ago. The first entrance was at the Serenity Plains. All the outsiders that knew the entrance were killed. This region has been the headquarters of the Ji family for 100,000 years." "How many entrances are there?" Lu Li asked. If there was only one entrance and it was sealed off by the Ji family, then there would be no way to go in. 2. Patriarch 8 seemed to be in a dilemma. He sighed and said, According to the report from the family patriarch of the G family branch, the 2 entrances are sealed off. The seals will not be opened unless there are patriarchs of the G family and there are no jade talismans. At the moment, the families are trying to capture a patriarch of the G family. According to the situation, there are 3 or 4 patriarchs of the G family lurking outside. Well, Lu Ling has begun to make arrangements. Okay. Lu Ling had taken action. She knew that there were several patriarchs of the G family lurking outside. She should be able to capture 1 or 2. Lu Li thought about it and said, "Send someone to the Inferno and get Kumang and the others to see if they can crack the seals on the entrances. Send 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors to guard the 2 entrances. Put the fight for territory on hold for a while. After all, they cannot run away." The ambush of the G family made Lu Li feel threatened. The Great Land was a large place. Lu Li had many family members and the Lu family had more. If the G family wanted revenge, they could assassinate one after another. Who knew how many people would lose their lives? Bai Xiaoshuang survived this time. But what about next time? If Bai Xiaoshuang died, Lu Li would blame himself for the rest of his life. At this moment, he finally understood Lu Ling's words. He must be as merciless to his enemies as the winter snow. He must not have any illusions or he would get himself killed. The Samsara Palace was wiped out. Ji Zhantian was killed. Ji Mengtian and the others were all killed by Lu Li. There was no hope for the Ji family. The only thing left was hatred. The Ji family would try everything to get back at them. To protect his family and friends, Lu Li had to find every one of the Ji family and kill them all. There was also the Hades Society, the Pavilion of Blossoms, the Life League and the Yiksha race. Lu Li would ask Lu Xingyang to find and kill them as well. The feud between families could not be resolved. Lu Li preferred to wipe them out now rather than face endless assassination attempts in the future. At the very least, he had to make sure that they posed no threat. Bai Xiaoshuang had woken up. But it would take her a few days to recover. Teleportation was out of the question. Lu Li had to leave the matter to the Lu family and Lu Ling. He stayed with her and waited for news. 12 days later, a piece of good news came. Lu Ling had captured a patriarch of the Ji family, an Earth Immortal Realm warrior who participated in the assassination of Bai Xiaoshuang. Lu Li could not sit still after hearing the news. Bai Xiaoshuang was almost recovered. Lu Li decided to go out in person to wipe out the Samsara region. "I want to go as well." Chapter 869. Yu Prefecture, hundreds of thousands of miles north of Yama City, there was a forbidden area. It was rumored that there were demons lurking here. Anyone who entered would be haunted by demons and eventually become a malicious spirit. This forbidden area was rumored to have existed for more than 100,000 years. Throughout history, many experts from Yuzhou had entered this place but never came out. Tens of thousands of years ago, there was even a Ren Huang in Yuzhou who did not believe in the supernatural and went in. In the end, he also did not come out. This was a mountain range with black fog and clouds shrouding it. It was eerie and gloomy. The moment one entered, the temperature dropped by more than 10 degrees, making one shudder. When Lu Li arrived with many powerful warriors, he used psychic power to check and nodded to himself as he listened to the narration from the Serenity Plains. This was indeed a very secluded place. It was estimated that there was an Earth Immortal of the Ji family guarding it. Powerhouses of the Yuzhou province naturally couldn't come out after entering. Lu Li came with 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Lu Ling didn't come with them. Lu Li was powerful and he had several Earth Immortal Realm warriors with him. They could just go in and crush the enemies. There was no need for any trick. Great-grandfather 5 came in person, together with a large group of powerful warriors of the Lu family and affiliated forces. All of them were at the Noble Lord realm, and there were over 1,000 of them. Whoosh, whoosh, after everyone entered the forbidden area, the sound of something tearing through the air suddenly came from behind. Lu Li frowned. He used psychic power to check. It was the master of the Palace of Heaven's Roars with 4 Earth Immortal Realm warriors and the leaders of the Palace of Immortals Inquiries and the Red Lunar. What are they doing here? Great-grandfather 5 murmured. Lu Li grinned in self-mockery. Naturally, those people were here to suck up to Lu Li and help him eliminate the disciples of the Ji family. Palace Master Lu. A group of big shots and their hundreds of subordinates flew over majestically. The Palace Master of the Immortal Inquiry Palace, Invincible, laughed loudly from afar and said, "You guys are really fast. We set off as soon as we received the news and only managed to catch up here." Exactly. The Red Lunar Temple Master, Chen Tianjiao, smiled and said, "Temple Master Lu is not giving us a chance to make a contribution." Ah! The Master of the Palace of Heaven's Roars laughed but said nothing. He cupped his fists and said, "Grand Master Lu. Greetings, everyone." Lu Li was all smiles. He didn't clasp his fists. He just nodded and said, "Thank you. Speaking of which, I must thank you, Master. You have done me a great favor. I owe you one." "Hall Master, please don't say that." The Master of the Palace of Heaven's Roars did not look old. He was tall and strong like a bull. He waved his hand and said, "Grand Master, you have done so much for the human race. We are just doing a small favor for you. We all owe the Hall Master a big favor." Master of the Palace of Heaven's Roars knew how to conduct himself. Not only did he not ask for Lu Li's favor, but he also flattered Lu Li. Lu Li nodded and said with satisfaction, "Thank you, Master. You are good." The Master of the Palace of Heaven's Roars was grinning from ear to ear. Chen Tianjiao and Yin Feiyun were envious. But there was no other way. The Palace of Heaven's Roars dug out the Samsara realm. Chen Tianjiao hurriedly said, "That's right. The Palace Lord has done so much for us. This time, let us act as the vanguard for the Palace Lord. If someone dares to harm Madame Shuang, then they are our enemies. This time, we will help Madame Shuang seek justice." Yin Feiyun was enraged as well. He said angrily, "The Ji family has committed too many sins. This time, they even dared to attack Madame Shuang. That is treason. Madame Shuang is so beautiful and kind. How dare they offend her? Are they still human?" Bai Xiaoshuang was right next to Lu Li. Her eyes curved into crescent moons when she heard these words. Lu Li was speechless. These people were so shameless. They would say anything just to butter him up. The Ji family held a grudge against him. It was reasonable for them to try to assassinate Lu Li. But Yin Feiyun said it was heinous, "Thank you." For the sake of Bai Xiaoshuang, Lu Li cupped his fists and said, "Let's go in and have a look." They flew into the mountain in a formidable array. There were many inhibition formations in the mountain. However, Kumang and the others had arrived earlier. Most of the dangerous inhibition formations were destroyed. They flew to the depth of the mountain easily. 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors were guarding in the depth. Kumang and the others were here. They bowed to Lu Li as soon as he arrived. Lu Li took a look and saw a huge cave. He used psychic power to check. There were many formations of illusion inside, but they should have been destroyed. Lu Li asked, "Kumang, how is it going?" Kumang answered, "The entrance is sealed. But given time, I think I can break it open." "Okay." Lu Li was relieved. The wicked bead glowed as an Earth Immortal Realm warrior came out. He was a patriarch of the internal clan of the Ji family. He had become Lu Li's sole slave. "Let's go." This patriarch had a way to contact the people inside. When he sent a signal, the people inside would open the seal. Even if the seal was not opened, Kumang could still do it. Lu Li was not worried about going in. "Get ready." Chen Tianjiao and Yin Feiyun had 10 Earth Immortal Realm warriors in total. They followed the Ji family Earth Immortal Realm warrior, ready to go in at any time. Lu Li waved his hand. The Earth Immortal Realm warriors he brought with him unsheathed their weapons and were ready to go in. Lu Li and Bai Xiaoshuang followed at the rear. Most of the Ji family Earth Immortal Realm warriors had been killed. There were some Earth Immortal Realm warriors in the Samsara region, but there were no more than 3. Therefore, Lu Li didn't have to do anything. In the depth of the cave, the Ji family Earth Immortal Realm warrior took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Buzzing, after the time for one incense stick to burn, the seal in the depth of the cave glowed, revealing an entrance. Lu Li waved his hand and said, "Let's go in." Whoosh, 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 the Earth Immortal Realm warriors dashed into the entrance like hungry tigers, followed by the human Sovereign Realm warriors. Lu Li and Bai Xiaoshuang were not in a hurry. After the time for one incense stick to burn, a jade talisman in his hand cracked. He nodded and said, "Shuanger, it is safe now. Let's go in." As soon as they entered the cave, more warriors followed. After a glare, Lu Li and Bai Xiaoshuang arrived at a small city. A battle had broken out here. Many people died in the city, and many were taken captive. Lu Li had learned about the situation in the Samsara region from the patriarch of the Ji family. The small city was just a place to guard the entrance. In the small world, there were 3 big cities and 7 or 8 small cities. Tens of thousands of surviving members of the Ji family lived in the small world. Of course, many of them were from the affiliated forces. They hid in the small world, fearing that Lu Li would seek revenge. Buzzing, 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 the warriors kept coming in. This time, there were not many warriors, just over 1,000, but the weakest among them was at the Noble Lord realm. Lu Li didn't want to kill anyone. After all, a one-sided slaughter would be meaningless. When everyone was in, Lu Li said to Chen Tianjiao and the others, "There are 3 big cities. Divide into 3 teams and attack them. There are many treasures left by the Ji family. Each of the 3 forces will give you 10%. Also, remember, do not kill women, children or civilians. As for warriors, leave no one alive. 10%? Chen Tianjiao and the others were filled with smiles. How many years had the Samsara Palace been dominating the world? How much wealth had they accumulated? Even if it was only 10%, it was still very frightening. Charge! Leaders of the 3 forces charged out at once. The more than 1,000 warriors were excited. Given Lu Li's character, he would reward everyone that came in this time. P.S. Pay off your debt. You owe me 8 chapters. Chapter 870. The destruction of the Samsara region went smoothly. The 3 armies did not have many warriors, only several hundred on each side. But there were many powerful ones. This time, there were more than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm warriors. Such a force could wipe out any of the former royal families. There were not many Earth Immortal Realm warriors in the Samsara region. There were only 2, and they were dying. They were killed by Master of the Palace of Heaven's Roars and Chen Tianjiao. The rest was easy. Following Lu Li's order, all the warriors were killed and the old, the weak, the women and the children were captured. The Ji family had hidden a lot of wealth here, so much so that it was frightening. At least, the warriors were frightened. The 3 chiefs exclaimed. Lu Li was not in the mood to check when he received the intelligence. After all, many must have died. Bai Xiaoshuang was too naive to like that. Making sure that all the warriors were killed, Lu Li left with Bai Xiaoshuang. He left the distribution of the spoils to Great-Grandfather 5. Great-Grandfather 5 was not angry that Lu Li had nearly killed Lu Fengyun. Instead, Great-Grandfather 5 removed Lu Fengyun from the position of patriarch and ordered him to cultivate for 3 years. At the same time, Great-Grandfather 5 and Lu Xingyang had a discussion. They informed the entire Lu family that if any Lu family disciple committed crimes, they would be severely punished. Lu Li was right. The Lu family had become the most powerful force. Many Lu family disciples were happy. Little did they know that a super family could be destroyed because of this. Lu Li stopped cultivating after he left with Bai Xiaoshuang. He took her back to the inferno. Bai Qiushue was cultivating. Lu Li took Bai Xiaoshuang on a sightseeing tour. Bai Xiaoshuang was not fond of cultivation. She was active and playful. She was straightforward and simple. That was what Lu Li liked about her. Cultivation was important, but his wife was even more important. Lu Li had been busy. He could spend some time with her. They visited the great Buddhist temple, and then visited the ancestral land of the Cyan Phoenix race. Finally, they went to the Pavilion of Delicacy to look for Jiang Qiling. Bai Xiaoshuang was overjoyed when Lu Li took her on a tour. She tried everything to please Lu Li in bed. Under Lu Li's guidance, she mastered all kinds of positions. She was very proactive. Lu Li enjoyed himself to the fullest during this time. The tumulus of universe, the Ling Long Pavilion, the great Buddha temple, and the Lu family continued to push forward. In the following days, there were no more disturbances and their progress was very smooth. The first to take over was the Pavilion of Delicacy. The Pavilion of Delicacy was strong and Lu Li had given Jiang Qiling several Earth, Immortal Realm warriors. After the Ling Long Pavilion took over the Nether Sect's territory, their strength immediately increased greatly. Moreover, the Ling Long Pavilion occupied the entire territory. They only gave a small portion to their subordinate forces. The domain lords of the other big domains were all from the Ling Long Pavilion. This way, they would be able to obtain more resources. The Lu family was advancing fast as well. Under the command of Lu Ling, the Lu family army soon occupied the territory of the Pavilion of Blossoms with irresistible force. On the other side, the tumulus of heaven and earth had started to move, giving up the territory in the southeast. Tumulus of Universe had many vassal families under it. These families were actually not willing to leave. After all, they had been operating in the southeast for many years. Furthermore, if he didn't leave, he would be siding with the Lu clan. The Lu clan was a powerful backer now, and he would have a better future with the Lu clan than with the Tumulus of Universe. Of course, the rank 7 forces under the Tumulus of Universe were not so righteous. If they sided with the Lu family, they would be laughed at by the world. The Lu family might not accept them. After all, the Lu family had a good relationship with the Tumulus of Universe. Therefore, the rank 7 forces left. The Tumulus of Universe promised to give them a large territory. Many of the 5th and 6th rank families stayed. Yi family and the Lu family didn't mind. So be it. The Lu family started to send people to take over the territory in the southeast. The Lu family's disciples were all in high spirits. After obtaining so much territory, they needed their own people to govern it. Many of the Lu family's disciples became city lords or even region lords. Of course, after the incident with Lu Fengyun, the Lu family disciples kept a low profile. They didn't dare to act recklessly, at least not openly. If Lu Li were to find out, they might be exiled from the Lu family, not to mention losing their status. The Central Plains gradually quieted down. Lu Li was only dividing the territories of the 5 forces. He wouldn't invade other territories, which put the Palace of Heaven's Roars, the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries, the Red Lunar and other forces at ease. That being said, it was understandable. If the Lu family really wanted to unify the world, they wouldn't have given the Pavilion of Delicacy, the great Buddhist temple and the Tumulus of Universe. They could just announce to the world that the Lu family was going to unify the world. Who could resist? Who could resist? Many families were envious of the Pavilion of Delicacy, the Tumulus of Universe and the great Buddhist temple. The 3 forces had taken over such a large piece of territory. If they could manage it well, in thousands of years their abilities would be enhanced. By then, the structure of the Central Plains would be completely changed. The Lu family would be at the top, the 3 forces would be second, and the Palace of Heaven's Roars, the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries and the Red Lunar would be third. When the Central Plains calmed down, Lu sent someone to the demon-slaying hall. Making sure that everything was peaceful there, he went back to the inferno with Jiang Qiling. Lu left several Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves at the City of Mystic Armor and paid no attention to anything else. Lu Ling went back to the inferno as well, which upset many young masters. Several young ladies from the Palace of Immortals' Inquiries, the Red Lunar and the Palace of Heaven's Roars wanted to hook up with Lu, but he didn't care. Therefore, the young masters of the three forces had their eyes on Lu Ling. As long as they could win her favor, they could establish a relationship with the Lu family. What was more, not only was Lu Ling of Fire Phoenix birth, she was also extraordinarily intelligent. Her beauty was one of the best in the land. She was the goddess of countless men's dreams. Unfortunately, Lu Ling was even more dismissive of them. She was ambitious. Her brother was so outstanding. She wouldn't even look at him if he could not surpass Lu. Back at the inferno, Bai Qiuxue was still cultivating. She was diligent. Her enchantment had reached the second level. If she could keep up with her realm, her abilities would be terrifying. Jiang Qiling began to cultivate as well. Emperor of Heaven Reverse had given her something miraculous that she had yet to fully understand. She believed that if she could reach the semi-god realm. Bai Xiaoshuang still didn't want to cultivate. Lu asked her to take Little White out to play while he went to the Inferno Manor to cultivate. He once swore to himself that he would invade the eastern land of oceans as soon as possible and kill the Asmodean Lord to avenge Great-Grandfather 3 and the others. There was one thing that Lu didn't tell the others. He had always felt a sense of danger. The fact that the Asmodean Lord knew the wicked bead and was trying to get it was a surprise to Lu. He had a suspicion that the Asmodean Lord had someone backing him up. It was not that the Asmodean Lord wanted the wicked bead, but the person behind him wanted it. Maybe, in a short while, the person behind him would come to the Heaven Reverse universe. If Lu was not strong enough, then the Heaven Reverse universe would face a catastrophe. Cultivate, cultivate. Sitting in the manor, Lu shook his head to rid himself of the distracting thoughts. He must seize the time to study more line diagrams and engrave them into his bead of life. Chapter 871. Time zipped by. Soon, a year had passed. During this year, the demon-slaying battleground was peaceful and so was the Great Land. Apart from the fact that the Lu family sent out an army to destroy a small world where the Yiksha race was hiding, nothing significant happened. The Lu family acquired 2 large pieces of land and they settled down in a year. The Lu family was too powerful. Even though Lu never showed up and Lu Renhuang disappeared for a year, nobody dared to offend the Lu family as long as they were still alive. Lu Renhuang had gone to the purgatory of primordial chaos with 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors of the demon-slaying hall. They had been there for a year. There was no reply from the 3. Fortunately, their jade talismans of life were still intact, which was why Lu was not so worried. Many frozen warriors in the demon-slaying city had passed away. Only the human sovereign realm warriors and Earth Immortal Realm warriors were still holding on. If Lu Renhuang could not get the elixir back in a year, not even Jiang Tianshun would be able to hold on. Lu cultivated for a year. Bai Qiuxue and Jiang Qiling had been cultivating and Bai Xiaoshuang had been traveling around. Lu sent 3 Earth Immortal Realm warriors to protect her and Little White was with her. She was safe. Lu did not gain much during the year. He studied several small diagrams and engraved them into his bead of life. He even integrated them with the first diagram. However, the few diagrams were not of much use. His feather wind castle was not strengthened. It was just more stable and the speed of forming the feather wind castle was faster. Xian energy and his soul pond were improving. The wicked bead was working well as well. More than half of the second layer of the seal was gone. In 3 or 4 months at most, it would be done. What confused Lu was that more than half of the seal was gone, but the wicked bead still had no new functions. The first layer of the seal could fly when it was half gone. As the seal went on, the wicked bead could fly faster and faster. Let me take a rest. Luli was tired after a year of cultivation. He felt guilty that his 3 wives did not spend much time with him. He left his room and checked the other 2 rooms with psychic power to see if Bai Qiushue and Jiang Qiling were cultivating. What? How lucky I am! Luli was surprised to see that neither of them was in the room. He had just come out from cultivation, and now they had come out as well? He scanned the manor with his divine thoughts, but still didn't find the 2. He frowned and walked out of the yard. He asked an Earth Immortal guard, "Where are the 2 madams?" He went to the deserted world. The Earth Immortal Realm Soul Slave answered, "A new passage was found in the deserted world. It is said that there is a good blessed land there and a hot spring. The water in the hot spring has a special liquid that can strengthen one's body and beautify one's skin." Madame Shuang took the 2 ladies there to play. Oh! Luli was intrigued. How could there be such a good place? He waved his hand and said, "Let's go and take a look." He left with the Earth Immortal Realm Soul Slave, and told the guards outside to tell Lu Ling and Mingyu that he was going to the deserted world. Then, he stepped into the teleportation portal and arrived at the deserted world. The new passage was in a perilous place in the deserted world. Of course, that perilous place was only for civilians. For the Earth Immortal Realm warriors, the place was not dangerous. Luli teleported 3 times and flew for 2 hours. Then, he arrived at a mountain. There was a miasma in the mountain. It was not man-made but naturally formed. The miasma was so toxic that even noble Lord Realm warriors would die upon coming in contact with it. There were people at the foot of the mountain. They were from the Shadowland race. Seeing Luli, they hurried over and saluted. "Greetings, Saint Lord." "Rise." Luli nodded. He used psychic power to check the mountain and asked, "Have you cleaned up the miasma?" "Yes." A patriarch of the Shadowland race answered. "When the passage was found, our family patriarch came in person. Lady Ling sent someone over to kill all the poisonous insects. Our family patriarch ordered the construction of some formations and a passageway to cut off the miasma so that we can go in and out. Your family patriarch has done a good job." Luli was satisfied with Kumang. Then, he asked with curiosity, "Where does this passageway lead to? Have you built a formation on the other side?" "To the Central Plains." The patriarch answered, "The exit is at the Eastern Sea, not far from the Central Plains. Our family patriarch has built a formation there. Patriarch Lu has heard about it. He has sent someone to build a teleportation formation and has mobilized an army to guard it. In the future, Saint Lord, it will be closer to the city of mystic armor from here." "Good." Luli nodded and walked into the passageway. A path had been built here with formations to cut off the spread of the miasma. After the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, Luli arrived at the destination. There was an army stationed here and there was a castle. Clearly, that was the passageway. "Where are Qiushue and the others?" Luli used psychic power to check but did not see Bai Qiushue and the others. He frowned. He used psychic power to check further and found a cave. The cave was covered up by a formation of illusion, and there were 3 Earth Immortal Realm Soul Slaves guarding outside. Whoosh! Luli strode over to the cave. Looking at the 3 Earth Immortal Realm Soul Slaves, he asked, "Are the ladies in there?" "Yes, young master." One of the Earth Immortal Realm Soul Slaves nodded. Luli strode in. As soon as he entered the cave, he felt some psychic power. They were Jiang Qiling's maids. They were from the Pavilion of Delicacy, and 3 of them were at the Noble Lord Realm. "Young master." Seeing that it was Luli, the maids let down their guard. Luli nodded and walked in. Clearly, the cave had been decorated simply. There were oil lamps along the way and the path was flat. Ha ha ha! Walking into the depth of the cave, Luli could hear some bell-like laughter coming from inside. It was by Xiaoshuang. There was a formation of illusion nearby that could cut off psychic power. There were 2 maids guarding outside. Young master. The 2 maids bowed to Luli at once. They were about to warn Jiang Qiling and the others when Luli made a shushing gesture and waved the 2 maids away. The 2 maids understood at once. They left with blushing faces. Luli walked into the formation of illusion. It was foggy inside and he could barely see through it. Luli saw a pond and he could hear the sound of flowing water. Vaguely, he could see 3 beauties soaking in the pond like 3 mermaids. The steam in the water surrounded them. Because they had been soaking in the hot spring, their skin was flushed. Sitting side by side, they were so beautiful, like the most beautiful scenery in the world. Who is it? Hearing the footsteps, Jiang Qiling glared at Luli. Bai Qiuxue and Bai Xiaoshuang were taken aback. They covered their chests, dived into the water, and looked over with alarm. Ha ha! Who else has the guts to come in apart from me? Luli's voice was heard. The alertness in the 3's eyes was replaced by shyness. Bai Qiuxue pouted and said, "What are you doing? Get out. Let us get dressed first." Ha ha ha! Luli laughed out loud. He flew into the pond like a sharp sword and said, "My 3 beauties, do you think I will let go of such a good chance? Just listen to me. We are in the wild. You can shout until your throats are hoarse, but it is useless." "Ah, pervert!" Bai Xiaoshuang's exaggerated voice was heard, but the maids acted as if they heard nothing. Instead, they stood there with blushed faces. Chapter 872. The hot spring was wonderful. There was something in the hot spring. Bathing in the hot spring for a while, one could feel the strength in the body. The hot spring could also nourish the skin, making it fairer and smoother. It had been half a month since the place was discovered. The 3 ladies had been staying here all this time. Which lady didn't want to look good? If one could become beautiful and cultivate at the same time, such a treasured place would be the dream of all women, right? Jiang Qiling also suggested building a manor here. They wanted to occupy this place. At the same time, they wanted to build a teleportation formation to the entrance of the inferno. When they were tired from cultivating in the inferno, they could rest here. Bathing in the hot spring could strengthen their bodies and beautify their faces. Why not? It was rare for his 3 wives to make a request. Luli waved his hand and mobilized the army to build the manor outside. At the same time, he asked Kamang to build a teleportation formation and a huge formation of illusion in the manor. This place was classified as a forbidden area. Outsiders were not allowed to enter. Over the past couple of days, the 3 wives had tried their best to satisfy all of Luli's requests. Bai Qiuxue was shy about this, but recently, she decided to throw caution to the wind. Because the 3 wives had been married to Luli for a long time. How come none of them were pregnant? Even though the Lu family didn't say anything, the 3 wives were worried. After all, there were 3 ways to be unfilial. As a matter of fact, the 3 wives were competing secretly. After all, Jiang Qiling had a strong background. She had the Pavilion of Delicacy, one of the royal families. Jiang Qiling was the future chosen warrior. Emperor of Heaven Reverse had given her divine energy and legacy. She had an 8th rank bloodline and was at the Earth Immortal Realm. Bai Qiuxue had been working so hard to cultivate. She wanted to compete with Jiang Qiling, to prove that she was as good as Jiang Qiling. She wanted to improve her abilities so that she could help Luli in the future. Luli was getting stronger and stronger. Bai Qiuxue didn't want to be a vase that could not help Luli. It was almost impossible for a lady to live in peace. Women's hearts were like a needle in a haystack. They might be harmonious on the surface, but they would compete secretly. Therefore, the first one to conceive Luli's child would be the key. If she could give birth to a son for Luli, she would be valued by the Lu family, including Lu Jingyang and Lu Renhuang. Her status in the Lu family would be elevated. Lu Li was well aware of the open and veiled strife between Jiang Qiling, Bai Qiushue, and Bai Xiaoshuang. But he pretended that he didn't see it. He wouldn't take sides either. As long as they didn't make a big fuss, he wouldn't say anything. But Bai Qiushue and Jiang Qiling were smart enough to know that Lu Li would hate them if they went too far. The three ladies had given Lu Li some medicine recently. None of them could get pregnant, which meant that it was Lu Li's problem. As a matter of fact, Lu Li was surprised as well. His body was fine. He was as strong as an ox, and he could punch through a mountain. Theoretically speaking, he should be fine. Could it be the silver dragon bloodline? Lu Li thought of a possibility. The only abnormality in his body was the silver dragon bloodline. His inability to make women pregnant might be the reason. Therefore, even though Lu Li knew that the pills were useless, in order to give the three girls hope, he had to force himself to take them. At the same time, he tried his best to satisfy the three girls' requests. The manor was quickly built. There was also a teleportation array here that could teleport to the entrance of the Inferno prison at any time. After half a month of rest, Lu Li went back to cultivate. Another 2 months passed. Finally, some good news came. The Earth Immortal Realm warriors that went to the prison of ice with Lu Renhuang had come back. They had successfully brought back the elixir that could cure the voodoo poison. Lu Renhuang did not come back. According to the two patriarchs, he was cultivating in the prison of ice, preparing to reach the semi-god realm. For Lu Renhuang, that place was a holy land. He said that he would not come back until he reached the semi-god realm. Jiang Qiling attached great importance to the matter. She went to the demon-slaying city with the two patriarchs in person. Lu Li trusted Ling Wuxin, so he did not go with them. If everything went well, Jiang Tianshun and the others could be saved. Lu Li was worried about Lu Renhuang. Many powerful warriors were cultivating in the prison of ice. The prison of gold was not a good place to train. For warriors of the 9 universes, the prison of ice was the best place. Lu Renhuang was strong in defense. As long as he did not run into semi-god realm warriors and his identity was not exposed, he should be fine. Lu Li thought for a while and then put the matter aside. He continued to consume the wicked bead and study the line diagram. The line diagram was fast. In almost a month, he could learn a small part of it. But there were too many small parts. There were more than 200 of them, which made up more than a dozen big ones. Lu Li could not tell how long it would take him to learn all of them. Lu Li's only thought was to learn one big part and engrave it into his bead of life to see if any powerful skills would emerge. The second seal of the wicked bead was about to be broken. Lu Li was excited. He had been gathering Xian energy day and night. He used all the Xian energy he had cultivated to consume the wicked bead. Over a month later, the wicked bead glowed. Finally, the second seal was broken. Even Lu Li's soul was trembling. He felt a door in the wicked bead had been opened, as if the door to a new world had been opened. He used psychic power to check the wicked bead. As he had expected, a door appeared in the small hall. At the moment, the door was opening inward quietly. Inside the wicked bead was another small hall. There is a bottle. Lu Li used psychic power to check the hall. It was empty except for a white jade bottle and a jade slip floating in the air. Buzzing, Lu Li dashed into the small hall and then into the inner hall. He grabbed the bottle and the jade slip. The wicked bead was a relic. The items inside could not be average. Emperor Heng was a real immortal. What he left behind would not be average. The jade bottle had a stopper, but Lu Li did not dare to open it. He used psychic power to check but could not see through it. Lu Li frowned. He thought about it and opened the stopper. Well, as soon as the cork was opened, a pungent smell of blood came into Lu Li's nostrils. He became violent at once. His eyes were filled with killing intent. His eyes turned blood red, as if he was possessed by the god of death. 3 drops of blood? Lu Li used psychic power to check and found 3 drops of blood floating in the bottle. He closed the stopper at once and breathed in deeply. At that moment, he sensed a strong desire to kill from the 3 drops of blood. Yes, it was the desire to kill. The 3 drops of blood had a strange power that could make people want to kill involuntarily and tear apart all the living beings nearby. If Lu Li's will was not strong enough, he would have lost his mind. If there were Xian beasts nearby, Lu Li would have torn them apart. The blood is horrifying. What kind of evil thing is this? Lu Li took deep breaths to calm himself down. Disappointment was written all over his face. He had thought that he had obtained treasures. Little did he know that it was 3 drops of evil blood. Also, the blood seemed to belong to a human, not a beast. After a moment of rest, Lu Li looked at the jade slip. There were some words on it. Lu Li's eyes glowed. Finally, he knew the source of the blood. Blood of the Slayer. P.S. Today is a normal update. Take a day off. Chapter 873. The Jade Slip did not describe much about the Slayer's blood. It only mentioned that the Slayer was one of the super mighty warriors in the divinity and had the power to destroy heaven and earth. The 3 drops of the Slayer's blood contained violent and horrifying energy. As for the Jade Slip, did not say what the blood could do or how to consume it. It did not say if there would be any side effects during the process. It did not say. The Jade Slip described the functions of the inner hall, which made Lu Li excited. The inner hall was said to be a blessed place for cultivation, a place even better than the inferno. What was so special about it? The Jade Slip did not say. But since Emperor Heng said this was a blessed place for cultivation, then the inner hall must be extraordinary. If an immortal said this was a blessed place, then it must be something else. Let me try cultivating first. Lu Li sat with his legs crossed and began to cultivate Xian energy. As soon as he did so, the entire wicked bead began to glow. Xian Qi and heaven and earth from all sides were attracted to the wicked bead. Outside the manor, there was a surge of Xian Qi, which shocked the earth immortal realm soul slaves. The Xian Qi swarmed into the inner hall, which made the Xian Qi around Lu Li extremely dense. Lu Li cultivated casually and the Xian energy in his spirit sea surged out like water. I think it is 10 times faster than in the inferno. This relic is freaky, Lu Li exclaimed after he cultivated for a while. This relic was extraordinary. The speed of cultivation was so fast. Cultivating here was better than cultivating in any blessed land. If a child were to cultivate here, it would take 10 days at most for him to reach the Soul Pond realm if he was talented. Let me study the line diagram. Lu Li did not care about the speed of Xian energy cultivation. The inferno was fast to begin with. At the later stage, the cultivation of Xian energy did not matter. What mattered most was the speed of learning profound meanings. What? Nice. An hour later, Lu Li opened his eyes. He was overjoyed. This place seemed to have sped up his learning. Lu Li's deduction was smooth and he was learning at a fast pace. This is a blessed place. Lu Li could tell that this relic must be a high-level one. It had so many functions. Not only was its defense impressive, but there was also a blessed place for cultivation. This was only the 2nd layer of the seal. There were 4 more layers to go. If new functions could emerge after each layer was opened, the wicked bead would be going against nature. Perhaps the treasures that Tharch Hung brought back from the divine world are the most valuable. His divine artifacts and divine armor are not the best treasures. Lu Li speculated to himself. Relic weapons and armors must be worthless in the divinity. On the other hand, the wicked bead must be valuable in the divinity since it had so many functions. Otherwise, Emperor Hung wouldn't have sealed 6 layers of seals. Let's see if I can refine the 3rd seal. Lu Li sat with his legs crossed, poured in Xian energy and began to dissolve the third layer of the seal. As he had expected, he could not dissolve the third layer of the seal. He must reach the Earth Immortal Realm in order to do so. The third layer of the seal required the Earth Immortal Realm, the fourth layer required the Soul Transformation Realm, and the fifth layer required the True God Realm? Could it be that even a real god couldn't refine the last stage? What a treasure! The more difficult it was to dissolve the seal and the more powerful the wicked bead was, the more excited Luli was. He, a mortal man, had acquired a powerful artifact from the divinity. Even some immortals would be jealous. Did Emperor Heng die because of the wicked bead? Did he snatch the wicked bead from somewhere? There are 6 layers of seals in the wicked bead. Is there a big secret in there? Lu Li's mind wandered for a while. It was possible, but he had to dissolve the 6 seals or go to the divinity to find out. To the firmament, Lu Li was excited at the thought of the divinity. To be able to break through the void and become an immortal was the highest dream of every warrior. More importantly, there was Emperor of Heaven Reverse in the divinity. He was the ancestor of the Heaven Reverse universe, the chosen warrior of the human race, and a mighty warrior. It was said that he dominated a region in the divinity. If he could ascend to the divinity, he would be able to find Emperor of Heaven Reverse and follow him. He could go to the divinity to fight, to dance with the gods, and to build an empire. Like Emperor Heng, he could find ways to help the Heaven Reverse universe. Lu Li calmed himself down after a while. It was pointless to dwell on it now. His realm was still too low. If he wanted to go to the divinity, he must reach the semi-god realm at the very least. He looked at the jade bottle in his hand, struggling. Undoubtedly, the Slayer's blood was good stuff, but he dared not to touch it. Just by smelling the smell of the blood, Lu Li felt he was possessed by the god of Slayer. He wished he could tear apart all the living beings nearby. If he consumed the blood, once he could no longer control himself, he might dash out of the wicked bead and start a massacre. Once he lost control of himself, the people in the Inferno base camp outside would probably be slaughtered by him. At that time, it would lead to a great disaster, and he would probably commit suicide to atone for his sins. If he did not consume the blood, the Slayer's blood would be wasted. Lu Li was hesitating. In the end, he decided to try and see if he could control himself. He opened the cork slowly and looked at the 3 drops of blood in the bottle. Buzzing, Lu Li's eyes reddened. Killing intent surged out from him. Veins were popping out on his face. He was like an enraged beast, wishing he could tear apart some living beings nearby. Calm down, calm down. Lu Li forced himself over and over again. He made up his mind and did not close the cork. He stared at the 3 drops of blood. Gradually, Lu Li's eyes turned redder and redder, and his killing intent grew stronger. He was trembling. He clenched his other hand into a fist. Xian energy glowed, as if he was going to smash the hall. What? Suddenly, Lu Li saw a scene. He saw a desolate land, and there was an endless stream of demons flying above the land. There were 6-horned demons, demons with wings, demons riding on bone dragons, demons as tall as mountains, and all kinds of demons. The sky was filled with them. A handsome young man in white was fighting with demons. He had a huge saber in his hand. The saber was 6 feet long, which formed a sharp contrast with the weak body of the white-haired young man. That being said, the young man's abilities were incredible. Every time he waved his saber, several demons would be cut down. The repercussions of his attacks cracked open the ground, cut off a mountain that was more than 1,000 feet tall, and tore open a crack in the sky. The white-haired young man was unstoppable. Bodies of demons were scattered all over the mountains and plains. Blood gathered into a river and flowed away. The horrifying killing intent lingered in the air. Lu Li could not breathe. His blood was boiling. No, I can't. Lu Li felt his blood vessels were about to burst. At the last moment, He used all his strength to close the cork. The scene disappeared. Luli rolled his eyes and passed out on the ground. Charge, charge, charge. Chapter 874. Phew, phew. After a long time, Luli woke up. He did not sit up at once. Instead, he breathed heavily. He felt he was soaked in sweat. He recalled what he saw before he passed out. He still had lingering fears. Those demons were horrifying. Every one of them could level the heaven reverse universe and even the 9 universes. That white-haired young man was even more powerful, not only in his abilities, but also in his killing intent and killing intent. Luli felt that the white-haired young man was more like a demon. Those ferocious demons were more like lambs. The white-haired young man slaughtered at will. No matter how many demons there were, they were not enough for him to kill. Killing intent. Even though Luli did not take a close look, he did sense a strong killing intent from the white-haired young man. Surrounded by that killing intent, Luli felt he could not even move. The white-haired young man didn't have to do anything. Just a trace of killing intent could suffocate Luli, burst his blood vessels, and obliterate his soul. Is he the Slayer? How come he is just a young man? Luli was surprised. Could it be that the Slayer became an immortal when he was young? Was that why his looks never changed? The Slayer is strong. Not even an average immortal is as strong as him. Luli believed that if the Slayer could become an emperor in the divinity, he must be a peerless warrior. But he wondered how much stronger the Slayer was compared to the Emperor of Heaven Reversed. Luli could tell from what he saw just now how horrifying the Slayer was. He could kill several demons as powerful as the Slayer in one move. Wherever the blade pointed, all immortals and Buddhas would perish. Blood of the Slayer? Is the white-haired young man dead? Luli felt it was a pity. Such a peerless warrior with such grace had passed away? His blood was regarded as a treasure and shared by many. Luli could not help but sigh at the thought of it. Who killed him? Either way, the blood of the Slayer could not be consumed, at least not at Luli's current realm and abilities. Otherwise, he might lose control of himself and turn into a murderous maniac, which could lead to disaster. Never mind. I will put it away for now. Luli put away the blood of the Slayer into his interspatial ring and used psychic power to check outside the wicked bead. He saw a surprising person, Jiang Tianshun. Jiang Tianshun was saved? Luli was overjoyed. He dashed out, took a quick shower and went back to the hall. Jiang Tianshun, Jiang Qiling, Bai Qiushui and Mingyu were all here. They stood up as soon as Luli came in. Grandpa Jiang, have you recovered? Luli walked over to Jiang Tianshun and used psychic power to check. Luli was delighted to see that Jiang Tianshun was as good as new. Jiang Tianshun cupped his fists gratefully and said, Grand Master, thank you and the human sovereign realm. Otherwise, I would never be able to wake up again. Luli replied with a smile. It is Grandpa Jiang who is blessed with good fortune. Grandpa Jiang, you will live for another 3,000 years after this tribulation. Ah! Jiang Tianshun laughed and looked at Luli with mixed feelings. At first, he looked down on Luli. He didn't think Luli was good enough for her. Little did he know that he had to rely on Luli to save his life. Luli had become the leader of the human race, which had benefited the Jiang family. Luli, Jiang Qiling said, the 2 patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall want to go back to the prison of ice. For one thing, they want to find more treasures. For another, they want to gain experience. For another, they want to ensure Father's safety. Yes, I can. Luli waved his hand. Then, he thought of something. Earth immortal realm warriors of the 9 universes could not go down to the prison of gold. The 2 patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall were only at the Earth immortal realm. How could they go up and down at will? Could it be that Uncle 9 of the June family lied to him? Uncle Nine of the June family! Luli shouted. Uncle Nine of the June family dashed in from outside. Luli voiced out his doubts. Uncle Nine of the June family had been wondering about this as well. He thought about it and explained, the purgatory of primordial chaos has its own rules. It is true that we from the 9 universes cannot go down. Maybe the purgatory of primordial chaos is trying to protect the universes below. I don't know the details. What? Luli raised his eyebrows. He realized that the purgatory of primordial chaos was hiding a big secret. If it were a naturally formed land, it would not have such flexible rules. Could it be that the purgatory of primordial chaos was created by a mighty warrior in the divinity? Otherwise, why would the purgatory of primordial chaos have exactly 10 levels and be divided so clearly? Fire, wood, earth, water, gold, ice, soul, and thunder. Every level had a towering mountain and beasts of primordial chaos. Anyone who could go through the prison of thunder could ascend to the divinity? Luli felt that the purgatory of primordial chaos was more like a game played by an almighty warrior. A land that was created by a mighty warrior in the divinity and thrown into the lower universe? A path to immortality for mortals in the lower universe? Or was that mighty warrior in the divinity looking at them with disdain? Watching them fight, watching the mortals being blasted into ashes in order to go through the prison of thunder? 9 universes? Jiang Tianshun and Mingyu looked at Luli in surprise. Jiang Tianshun asked, Luli, what are the 9 universes? The origins of Uncle Nine of the June family and the others had always been a mystery to Jiang Tianshun and the others. Naturally, they were curious when the 9 universes were mentioned. Nothing. This is a complicated matter. I can't tell you more. Luli pressed his lips but said nothing. It would not be good for the Heaven Reverse universe to know this. Instead, it would bring endless pressure and panic to the Heaven Reverse universe. Not only Jiang Tianshun, but Luli didn't even tell Jiang Qiling. Seeing that Luli was determined, Jiang Tianshun did not ask further. Luli must have his reasons. No matter how many times Jiang Tianshun asked, Luli would not answer. Then, Jiang Tianshun brought up another matter. The Inferno is a wonderful place for cultivation. Luli, the Pavilion of Delicacy, is going to mobilize a large number of young disciples here to cultivate. Is that okay? Of course. Luli said generously. The Inferno was boundless. Even if all the major forces mobilized their disciples here, let alone the Pavilion of Delicacy, it wouldn't be a problem. Good. Jiang Tianshun was satisfied. He thought about it for a while and then mentioned another matter. Luli, I have disciples of the Jiang family working undercover at the eastern land of oceans. I heard that the Asmodean Lord is plotting something big. He gathered tens of thousands of young boys and girls and put them into the altar secretly. Some families made jade talismans of life for some young boys and girls, but they were all broken. Also, from the altar, we can hear the cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. It is horrifying. At night, there will be colorful glow in the sky. It is strange. Tens of thousands of young boys and girls. Luli and the others were shocked. The Asmodean Lord was so evil that he would sacrifice tens of thousands of young boys and girls. Was he cultivating some secret skill? Or was he using those young boys and girls to summon some evil beings? I must cultivate as soon as possible, and then we can conquer the eastern land of oceans. Luli made up his mind. If the Asmodean Lord had really mastered some powerful skill or summoned evil beings from the upper universe, then it would be a catastrophe for the human race. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushua looked at each other. They made up their minds to cultivate as well. Chapter 875. The strange situation at the ocean land of the East had put a lot of pressure on the great land. The Asmodean Lord was already powerful. If he could become even more powerful, or if he could summon something evil, Nobody would be able to stop him. The tens of thousands of young boys and girls, even though they were civilians of the Asmodeans, were still alarmed after hearing the news. What was more, the Asmodean lord was still searching for young boys and girls secretly. In a year's time, the number of dead young boys and girls would reach hundreds of thousands. If the Asmodean lord didn't have any ulterior motives, then he must have lost his mind. If he did, then it would be horrifying. The Asmodeans had always been fond of cultivating evil skills, but such evil skills were appalling. Luli went into the wicked bead to cultivate with Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushu. The cultivation speed in the inner hall was fast. Naturally, Luli wanted to share it with his friends. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushu were amazed when they cultivated in the inner hall. Bai Qiushu was about to reach the human sovereign realm. She was confident that she could reach the human sovereign realm in 3 months. Time flowed by like water. 3 months later, Bai Qiushu reached the human sovereign realm and Jiang Qiling reached the middle stage of the earth immortal realm. Luli was embarrassed. He had been studying the line diagram and didn't try to learn other profound meanings. Therefore, he was still at the initial stage of the human sovereign realm. His 2 wives had surpassed him. Luli had learned 11 small parts of the line diagram, but the feather wind castle didn't make much progress. The only improvement was that Luli could build a feather wind castle in an instant. The castle could cover an area with a radius of 30 miles and it was stable. 4 more small parts and I will be able to learn a big one. I hope there will be a big transformation. Luli was looking forward to it. He didn't let his wives continue. The speed of learning here was twice as fast as outside. He could learn a small part in half a month. If everything went smoothly, he could learn a big part in 2 months at most. Luli had reached the middle stage of the human sovereign realm in terms of Xian energy and soul strength. Now, he only needed profound meanings to evolve. Luli didn't know if the line diagram was a profound meaning. It didn't feel like a profound meaning. However, he had engraved it into his bead of life, and it had triggered anomalies in heaven and earth. He had reached the human sovereign realm. A month later, Jiang Tianshun came again and asked to see Luli urgently. Jiang Tianshun brought a piece of very bad news. According to the information sent back by their spies within the demon race, recently, the great demon god had dispatched an army to capture young boys and girls on a large scale. It was said that more than 150,000 young boys and girls had died. The eastern land of oceans was filled with complaints. Many big clans were dissatisfied, but because of the great demonic god's divine power, no one dared to do anything. At most, they could only curse secretly. Dark clouds covered the sky inside the altar of God. Ghostly wails and wolf howls could be heard from dozens of miles away. Moreover, there was an extremely terrifying beast aura coming from inside, as if it was nurturing some kind of evil creature. The demon-slaying hall deduced. Those evil beings should have already been summoned. The great demonic god had captured these young boys and girls in order to feed those evil beings so that they could recover their energy or become stronger. Patriarch of Law Enforcement asked Luli to lead a team of powerful warriors to explore the eastern land of oceans. If there were any evil beings, they should be eliminated as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the evil beings recovered or evolved, they might not be able to suppress them. Luli was in a dilemma. He was 2 diagrams away from a major diagram. At his current speed, he could finish it in a month. His abilities had not improved yet. He was not confident that he could make it to the eastern land of oceans. If all the entrances to the demon-slaying battleground were sealed off, he might not even be able to come back. That being said, if he did not go, what if the evil beings had grown up in a month? By then, the Asmodean Lord could bring the evil beings to attack the demon-slaying city. The consequences would be unimaginable. Let's go. In the end, Luli made up his mind to sneak into the eastern land of oceans secretly. Jiang Tianshun had promised that the mole would help him get there. Luli would sneak into the eastern land of oceans. If the situation was not dire, he could cultivate in the eastern land of oceans for a month. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushue expressed their willingness to go with Lu Li at once. After all, the trip to the eastern land of oceans was perilous. They wanted to go through the trials and tribulations with Lu Li. No matter how dangerous the situation was, they had to deal with it together. Lu Li wanted to ask them to stay. However, Jiang Qiling insisted that if Lu Li did not take them, they would go by themselves. In the end, Lu Li thought that he could put them in the wicked bead. As long as he did not let them out, they would not be able to come out. Therefore, he agreed. Lu Ling wanted to go as well. But this time, Lu Li did not agree. The trip to the eastern land of oceans was all about combat abilities. Schemes were of no use. Lu Li asked Lu Ling to monitor the Great Land. Anyone that dared to mess around while he was away would be killed by Lu Ling. Yicha must go. He had learned the shrink skill and could take the appearance of an Asmodean. With the help of the mole, Yicha could gather a lot of information. Lu Li planned to take 5 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves with him. More would be pointless. The rest would be to guard the deserted world and the Great Land and follow Lu Ling's orders. Bai Xiaoshuang insisted on going. Lu Li did not relent. He told her to stay in the inferno. At most, she could go to the deserted world for sightseeing. She could not leave the Great Land. It was not a joke to ask Lu Ling to monitor the eastern land of oceans. Who could guarantee that all the surviving members of the Ji family and the Yang family could be killed? Naturally, Little White had to go. Recently, Little White had been refining its body in the Ding of Barbarian God. When Lu Li triggered the change in heaven and earth, Little White had absorbed a lot of divine energy. Its body was growing stronger. More importantly, Little White's teeth were sharp. If Little White could bite the Asmodean Lord's neck, it could kill him easily. Lu Li put everyone into the wicked bead. Then, he went to the exit of the hot spring with Jiang Tianshun and teleported to the Eastern Sea. Then, they teleported to the city of Mystic Armor. Lu Li met with Lu Xingyang and Great-Grandfather 5 at the city of Mystic Armor and told them some things. Then, Lu Li and Jiang Tianshun hurried to the demon-slaying battleground. At the demon-slaying city, Patriarch of Law Enforcement strongly requested to go to the eastern land of oceans. Some other patriarchs expressed their wish as well. At the very least, they could share some of Lu Li's burden. At the same time, if they could fight on multiple fronts, they could help Lu Li distract the enemy. Lu Li did not agree to Patriarch of Law Enforcement's request. Without Patriarch of Law Enforcement here, the demon-slaying city would be in trouble. As for some other patriarchs' requests, Lu Li agreed. He thought that if things went wrong, he could let a group of patriarchs distract the Asmodean Lord so that he could go and kill that evil creature. In the end, Lu Li chose 10 powerful patriarchs and put them all into the wicked bead. Lu Li snuck to the southwest where there were many entrances to the eastern land of oceans. But all of them were sealed. In order to go in, spies of the Asmodeans would have to help. Emperor of Heaven Reverse, please protect your people. Chapter 876. Is this the place? At the entrance of a cave, Lu Li checked according to the map and then sent out Patriarch Lei of the demon-slaying hall. Yes, this is the place. Patriarch Lei used psychic power to check and nodded. This is a teleportation to a prefecture at the south of the eastern land of oceans, the Jianghu Prefecture. The son of the prefecture master there is a sole slave of the Jiang family. Okay, lead the way. Lu Li asked Patriarch Lei to lead the way. Patriarch Lei took out a jade talisman. This was the signal agreed upon with the spy. They arrived at the end of the cave and saw a huge teleportation portal. Patriarch Lei and Lu Li confirmed and then crushed the jade talisman. Buzzing, a moment later, the portal glowed. Lu Li let out the 5 Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves and the other patriarch. Surrounded by a group of people, they entered the portal. Luli had to be careful. What if the spy was controlled by the Asmodean Lord? Once he entered the portal, the Asmodean Lord would assassinate him immediately. After a glare, Luli and the others found themselves in a hall. There were only 3 Asmodeans in the hall, and they were smiling obsequiously at Luli and the others. Luli and the others checked with psychic power. They were in a mountain with several castles. There were a few warriors stationed nearby, but no powerful ones. The most powerful ones were the 3 human sovereign realm warriors in the hall. Okay. Luli was relieved. They had successfully entered the eastern land of oceans. This was the first step. His wicked bead glowed as Yi-Cha came out. Yi-Cha wiggled and transformed into an Asmodean, short and ugly. He flew out to check the surroundings. Chuan Pu greets Lord Lu, greets everyone. A young master of the Asmodean, dressed like a rascal, bowed to Luli with flattery. Luli nodded and asked, "Are they all your people?" "Yes." Chuan Pu bowed again and said with respect, "They are all my family warriors. They are absolutely loyal to me. Lord Lu, don't worry." Luli extended his hand and asked, "Where is the map of the eastern land of oceans? Give me a copy." Chuan Pu hurriedly took out a map, but written on it were the fiend race's characters, crooked like tadpoles. Luli frowned. Chuan Pu hurried over and explained, "Lord Lu, this is where we are, 30,000 miles to the northwest of the Edo Prefecture. This is the Edo Prefecture, this is the Kamita Prefecture, this is the Fuji Prefecture, to the north is the Beijing Prefecture where the Asmodean Lord lives." Chuan Pu explained and Luli understood everything. Luli was satisfied with Chuan Pu. He nodded and said, "Chuan Pu, you are good. Work hard for us. When we conquer the eastern land of oceans, you can be the master of the Asmodeans." Chuan Pu was overjoyed. He knelt on the ground and even kissed Luli's shoes. He said with passion, "Lord, please don't worry. Chuan Pu will be your most loyal servant. I will die for you." Luli felt disgusted, but he could not take his shoe back. This Asmodean was so sick that it wanted to kiss his master's shoe. Luli waved Chuan Pu to stand up. Chuan Pu warmly invited Luli to a banquet to taste the special delicacies of the Asmodeans. Yi-Cha had gone to investigate nearby and had not come back yet. Luli wanted to learn more about the Asmodeans and then decide what to do. Luli nodded in agreement. Everyone went to a nearby castle. A banquet had already been prepared there, and there were many beautiful women dressed in revealing clothes. Furthermore, many of the women actually had dog chains around their necks and tails on their buttocks. They knelt on the ground like female dogs. When they saw Luli and the others, they even raised their heads, stuck out their tongues and wagged their tails. "Ha ha!" Chuan Pu explained proudly, "Lord, this is one of the specialties of the eastern land of oceans, female dogs. I have spent years collecting and domesticating them. They are obedient and sensible. Lord, they are still virgins. Lord, please enjoy them." "Master, master," before Luli reached the golden table, the 2 ladies crawled over. They stuck out their tongues and kissed Luli's shoes like 2 female dogs. At the same time, they wagged their tails. Half of their plump butts were exposed. It was quite an obscene scene. These Asmodeans sure know how to have fun. So freaky, Luli was speechless. It was true that many major races at the Great Land kept beauties in captivity to entertain their guests, but not like the eastern land of oceans where women were domesticated into female dogs. Also, their postures and expressions were no different from dogs. They must have been domesticated for many years. Luli was not interested. But the 10 patriarchs and the Earth Immortal Realm's soul slaves were. Unfortunately, they could not do anything with Luli here. They had to sit there emotionlessly. Clap, 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 Chuan Pu clapped his hands, and wooden carts were pushed in one by one. There were beautiful women lying on the carts, and there were all sorts of food on the women's bodies. Many of them were raw meat slices, fish slices, and all sorts of strange pastries. Lord Lu, my lords, Chuan Pu explained with a smile, this is a special delicacy of the eastern land of oceans, a feast of the human body. Please enjoy. Lu Li was speechless again. How could they eat raw meat and fish? The other patriarchs began to eat with curiosity. Patriarch Lei spat out a piece of raw meat and said angrily, "What the hell is this? Why is it so disgusting? Why does it smell so fishy?" The other patriarchs ate some and found the taste strange. But the girl lying on the wooden cart was intrigued. She kept touching her with her chopsticks. The girl squirmed. Her face was blushing. She was even more tempting than the food. Okay. Tell me about the eastern land of oceans. Lu Li asked Chuan Pu directly without touching his chopsticks. Chuan Pu put on a flattering smile and said, Lord Lu, the eastern land of oceans has 6 forces. The Asmodean Lord is one of them and the other 5 are similar to the 12 royal families. The Jianghu Prefecture is one of them. The leader is my father, Saburo Kawai. Well, my father is at the Earth Immortal Realm. We used to have 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors but you killed one. The other 4 are the Watanabe family of the Eastern Sun Prefecture, the North Sea Prefecture. Sure, Chuan Pu's explanation gave Lu Li a general understanding of the eastern land of oceans. He asked the important questions. It is said that the Asmodean Lord captured many young boys and girls. Did he summon a demon? Is that true? Very likely. Chuan Pu said with a dignified expression. The Jianghu Prefecture has been ordered to send 40,000 young boys and girls. According to our spies, the altar of God has been open for more than a year. The great demonic god is guarding there, and no one is allowed to approach. If we are right, the Asmodean Lord must have used the Asmodean summoning skill and summoned a dragon demon from the region of doom. According to ancient records, the dragon demon likes to eat young boys and girls. It is said that in ancient times, a dragon demon ate 490,000 young boys and girls. It was powerful enough to sweep across the eastern land of oceans. In the end, it was the avatar of the Asmodean Emperor that killed the dragon demon. Dragon demon? His battle prowess is at the divine realm? Chapter 877. It was said that in order for the dragon demon to become an immortal, it must eat 490,000 young boys and girls. The dragon demon had only eaten 100,000. Therefore, Lu Li still had time. Of course, time was running out. Based on the current progress, in 3 months at most, the 490,000 young boys and girls would be collected. The Asmodean Lord had given the order that the 5 forces must provide 100,000 young boys and girls in 3 months. The other forces were dragging their feet. The Jianghu Prefecture, for example, had only sent 40,000. That being said, nobody dared to disobey the Asmodean Lord's order. All the young boys and girls would be delivered in 3 months. By then, the dragon demon would be at its prime. It would be able to kill anything that stood in its way. 3 months was the most conservative time. Lu Li thought for an hour and decided to take 2 steps at the same time. First, he would cultivate here. Second, he would ask Chuan Pu to trick Lu Li's father over and take control of the Jianghu Prefecture indirectly. Then, he would ask Chuan Pu's father to trick the leaders of the nearby forces over and take control of the Jianghu Prefecture. By taking control of 2 or 3 leaders, Lu Li could control them not to provide young boys and girls. In that case, the dragon demon would not have so much food. Another advantage was that Lu Li could control those forces to rebel and lure the Asmodean Lord over. When he finished the first diagram, he could sneak into the forbidden land of God and kill the dragon demon. When the dragon demon was dead, the Asmodean Lord would not be able to do anything no matter how furious he was. Lu Li was not afraid of the Asmodean Lord. He could come and go as he pleased. Lu Li did not take action right away after he made up his mind. Instead, he asked Chuan Pu to collect information, detailed information about the eastern land of oceans. At the same time, he asked the 10 patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to monitor the surroundings. Apart from Chuan Pu, nobody was allowed to go out. They had to monitor all the movements of the armies in case information was leaked. The eastern land of oceans was filled with danger. Luli might not be able to survive, but the patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves could lose their lives. Therefore, Luli had to be extra careful. The patriarchs and 9th uncle of June understood the importance of this matter. None of them dared to act rashly. They were stationed in different places to monitor the situation. Warriors and servants were all under their watch. Luli entered the Wicked Bead to cultivate. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushue were in the Wicked Bead as well. Jiang Qiling wanted to go and have a look when she heard that they had reached the eastern land of oceans. Luli did not ask her to go out. The outside world was similar to the Great Land. There was nothing to see. After 10 days of closed-door cultivation, Luli had learned another small diagram. Now there was only one left. Chuan Pu came back and gathered some information. The forces did not hand over all the young boys and girls at once. Their leaders were afraid that the Asmodean Lord could not control the dragon demon, which would lead to a catastrophe at the eastern land of oceans. Luli acted decisively and asked Chuan Pu to find a way to trick his father over. Chuan Pu was struggling. That being said, he was a sole slave of the Jiang family. What was more, Luli had offered him a piece of cake. If he conquered the eastern land of oceans, he could be the next Asmodean Lord. Chuan Pu was convinced. Luli did not go back to the Wicked Bead to cultivate. He sent all the patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves into the Wicked Bead. Luli used shrink skill to shrink his body and hid among the warriors, waiting for Chuan Pu's father, Chuan Jing's arrival. Jianghu City was nearby. Only 6 hours later, the teleportation array here lit up, and then 4 or 5 figures appeared outside the castle. A short man who looked like Chuan Pu, with fierce eyes and a thick beard, led a few people out. Chuan Pu, what is going on? Chuan Jing came over and used psychic power to check the surroundings. He was alarmed. Chuan Pu sent a message saying that valuable treasures were found here, so Chuan Jing hurried over. Chuan Pu was sitting in the castle. Instead of being happy, Chuan Jing seemed to be worried. Naturally, Chuan Jing became suspicious. Something is not right. Chuan Jing suddenly turned to Luli, who was outside the castle. Chuan Jing noticed something was wrong. Even though Luli was disguised as an Asmodean, he had a strong human energy. Humans charge! Chuan Jing bellowed. Then, he was about to dash into the crack in space. Luli grinned and said, Chuan Jing, I have been waiting for you. It is too late to run now. Bang! Luli took out his bead of life. With him as the center, the space with a radius of 30 miles trembled. A cyan-colored, half-transparent castle came out, covering up an area with a radius of 30 miles. Everyone was enveloped by the feather wind castle. Everyone, including Chuan Jing, hugged their heads and howled in pain. The feather wind castle was filled with feather wind and soul attacks were horrifying. Even the Asmodean Lord would suffer, let alone Chuan Jing. Soon, all the warriors passed out. The human sovereign realm warrior lasted for the time for 10 breaths. After the time for 20 breaths, Chuan Jing passed out. Not a single person in the castle was conscious. Done. Luli deactivated the feather wind castle and began to seize souls. He was familiar with this. In less than an hour, Chuan Jing had become Luli's soul slave. It was true that taking too many soul slaves would affect Luli's soul, but there was no other way. He could just kill them after he was used up. Last time, the Feather Race Earth Immortal Realm warrior he took in at the demon-slaying city was killed by Luli. Having too many soul slaves would affect one's cultivation. Gradually, more and more people woke up. Lu Li changed back to his original appearance. He took off the Asmodean armor and sat in the castle. Master, Chuan Jing walked in with a bitter face. His life was no longer his own now that he had become Lu Li's sole slave. From now on, he would have to listen to Lu Li's orders. He had been tricked by his own son. Well, find a way to lure the masters of nearby forces here. Before you do that, tell Chuan Pu to tell me. Also, do not send young boys and girls to the Asmodean Lord. Now you are dismissed. Lu Li waved Chuan Jing away and told Chuan Pu to stay here. At the same time, he sent out the 10 patriarchs and Earth Immortal Realm soul slaves to monitor the surroundings. This time, in merely 7 days, the wicked bead began to tremble. Lu Li checked with psychic power. Uncle 9 of the June family reported, "Young Master, Chuan Jing has sent a message. He is here with a leader of a force." Okay. Lu Li was delighted. He did what he did before. This time, he did not disguise himself as an Asmodean. He stood behind Chuan Pu and waited outside the teleportation formation. He gathered the elders and the soldiers 100 miles away so that they wouldn't all faint again. Buzzing, an hour later, the teleportation formation glowed. Chuan Jing came with a group of people. There were 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors with him. Boom, the Feather Wind Castle took shape in an instant. Now that everyone was under control, the rest would be easier. There were 2 Earth Immortal Realm warriors from another force. Lu Li killed one and took the other one as a soul slave. It's about time. Time is running out. Lu Li felt it was time to set off for the altar after he took down the leader of the other force. Chapter 878. In 10 days, seal off the teleportation formation connected to the Beijing city. Then, send someone to inform the Asmodean Lord that children will no longer be sent to the Asmodean Lord. If the Asmodean Lord is stubborn, you will announce that you will no longer accept his rule and declare independence. Also, create public opinion and tell the entire eastern land of oceans that once the dragon demon grows up, the entire eastern land of oceans will turn into hell and all the Asmodeans will die. After you inform the Asmodean Lord, go into hiding or he will kill you. At the same time, create some chaos. For example, get some warriors to pretend to be rebels and attack the cities. All in all, you must make the area under your rule chaotic. Also, get someone to spread rumors. You want the other forces to be in chaos as well. In the end, the entire eastern land of oceans will be in chaos. Remember, you can only survive when the eastern land of oceans is in chaos. Otherwise, you will be killed by the Asmodean Lord. When I kill the dragon demon, I will deal with the Asmodean Lord. Once I kill him, I will let the 2 of you divide the eastern land of oceans equally and set you free in 100 years. I will make you the Asmodean Lord of the eastern land of oceans. Also, you can spread some rumors about the Asmodean Lord. Say that he is under the control of the dragon demon and that he is capturing children by force. He is trying to turn the entire eastern land of oceans into a land of demons. In short, discredit him, make him lose the support of the people, and make the eastern land of oceans more chaotic. Lu Li and the 2 chiefs discussed for half a day. They told them many things and settled many details. The 2 chiefs left in a hurry. Lu Li and the others took action. It was not practical to go to the Beijing city by teleportation formation. Lu Li's human energy was too strong. As soon as he teleported over, he would be discovered. Therefore, Lu Li must fly over. The eastern land of oceans was not large, much smaller than the Great Land. That being said, it would take at least half a month to fly from the south to the north without being discovered. To prevent information from being leaked, apart from Chuan Pu and the 2 human sovereign realm warriors, Lu Li ordered Chuan Pu to kill all the warriors and servants in the castle. Though many of the servants were not strong, Lu Li had a heart of steel. The eastern land of oceans was full of danger. One wrong move and they would fall into an abyss. If the information was leaked and they were ambushed by the Asmodean Lord, Luli might lose his life here. Let's go. Making sure that everyone was killed, Luli waved his hand and told Chuan Pu to take him and the 2 human sovereign realm warriors to the north. On the other hand, Yi Gu was scouting ahead. With Yi Gu scouting ahead, the journey would be very safe. Unless an earthly immortal realm expert from the devil race appeared, otherwise, no one would be able to escape Yi Gu's detection. During this time, Yi Cha had been searching around. He had also practiced a kind of evil magic of the devil race. His body had the aura of the devil race. When he used the bone shrinking skill, no one would be able to tell that he was a member of the alien race except for the Earth Immortal Realm fiends. After flying for a day, Yi Jia left the route in the wilderness, and he did not encounter any demons. Luli put his mind at ease. He entered the wicked bead and gave it to Yi Cha to carry while he cultivated in the wicked bead. There was one last small diagram. Luli planned to study it on the way. In this way, he could engrave the entire diagram. Maybe the Feather Wind Castle would be more powerful. Yi Cha carried the wicked bead with Chuan Pu and the others following him. Half a month later, they had covered more than half of the distance. Nothing unexpected happened. Yi Cha was the best scout of the Heaven Reverse Universe. Nobody could find him easily. The eastern land of oceans was in a state of chaos. The 2 chiefs were acting according to Lu Li's plan. First, the 2 chiefs sent someone to report to the Asmodean Lord. Due to the grievances of the people, many places under their jurisdiction were rioting. Therefore, they would no longer send young boys and girls. The teleportation formation connected to the Bai Jing was closed. If the Asmodean Lord did not take back his order and continued to act willfully without regard for the people, the 2 prefectures would no longer accept his rule. At the same time, the 2 chiefs sent someone to other prefectures to spread rumors. They even had warriors disguise as mobs to cause trouble. Rumors spread out. The entire eastern land of oceans was in a state of chaos. Up until now, over 200,000 young boys and girls had been captured at the eastern land of oceans. Given the population of the eastern land of oceans, 200,000 was a small number. That being said, those were young boys and girls, young children. Children were the treasures of their parents, not only for humans but also for the Asmodeans. Feeding children to monsters? How could such an atrocity not stir the eastern land of oceans? Rumor had it that the dragon demon was going to eat 50 million young boys and girls. It was said that the Asmodean Lord was under the control of the dragon demon. People in many places were rioting. The 2 prefectures declared that they would no longer recognize the Asmodean Lord. They would seek independence and fight against the Asmodean Lord together to kill the dragon demon. The dragon demon was a monster from the region of Doom. It had invaded the eastern land of oceans and was going to devour all the Asmodeans in history. There was one dragon demon that caused the death of tens of billions of Asmodeans. In the end, it was the avatar of the Asmodean Emperor that killed the dragon demon. All the people of the eastern land of oceans had to work together to fight against the Asmodean Lord before the dragon demon grew up. Otherwise, when the dragon demon grew up, all the Asmodeans would perish. Rumors were flying around. In addition to the 2 prefectures, the leaders of the other forces were panicking. Mobs under their rule were attacking the cities. Mobs were everywhere. If they were to capture more young boys and girls, they might lose their positions as chief. Many warriors under their command were showing signs of rioting as well. Many Asmodeans were in a state of panic. Not long ago, the Asmodeans returned from the demon-slaying battleground with a great loss. It was said that there was a talented warrior among the humans. Not even the Asmodean Lord was a match for him. That warrior was going to lead an army to the eastern land of oceans. The Asmodeans were already in a state of panic. Now that something like this had happened, the eastern land of oceans was in an even more precarious state. If the situation was not handled properly, there might be a riot. By Jing City, to the north of the city was a mountain. This was a forbidden area. Guards were stationed day and night. Anyone who dared to approach would be killed immediately. In the forbidden area was an altar with a height of more than 10,000 feet. At the moment, the Asmodean Lord was sitting in a temple next to the altar. He flew into a rage when he heard the report from his subordinate. Are Chuan Jing and Watanabe courting death? How dare they defy my order? The Asmodean Lord's eyes glowed red. He gave the order at once: execute their messengers. Also, send a message to them. If they do not send over young boys and girls in 10 days, I will wipe out their entire race. An Asmodean Earth Immortal Realm warrior cupped his fists and accepted the order. But he did not leave at once. Instead, he reported something else. Asmodean Lord, I have been sending out reports. There are riots in many places. Rumors are spreading. Some mobs are attacking the cities. Several chiefs have sent people over to ask if we should stop capturing young boys and girls. Otherwise, there will be riots. Charge! Chapter 879. As far as the Asmodean Lord was concerned, it did not matter if the entire eastern land of oceans was against him. He had absolute power. He could kill anyone that disobeyed him. He had paid a huge price to summon the dragon demon. He would not allow anything to go wrong. He could suppress a major riot, let alone a small one. Any Asmodean would have to yield to him in the face of absolute power. What disappointed Lu Li was that the Asmodean Lord did not leave the forbidden land of God. He did not even send someone to suppress the riot. The two chiefs could even declare independence, not to mention going against him. At the moment, the most important thing for him was to train the dragon demon. As long as this beast from the region of doom could grow stronger, all the other sacrifices would be worthwhile. Even if the eastern land of oceans could lose hundreds of millions of people, as long as the dragon demon could grow up, Lu Li could break into the demon-slaying city and lead the Asmodeans into the Great Land. Given the Asmodeans' reproductive ability, in a few hundred years, the population of the Asmodeans would multiply. By then, the Asmodeans would be able to dominate the Heaven-Reverse universe. The eastern land of oceans was a small place with limited resources. The Asmodeans had a large population. They could not feed the Asmodeans without mystical materials to train powerful warriors. Only by conquering the Great Land could the Asmodeans develop rapidly and restore the glory of the ancient times. The Asmodean Lord's words were spread far and wide. Not only did it fail to frighten the Asmodeans, but it also enraged them. The rumor was getting worse. For the Asmodeans, the Asmodean Lord was their god, their leader that would protect them. Not only did the Asmodean Lord not protect them, but he was also cruel and violent. This indirectly confirmed a rumor. The Asmodean Lord was controlled by the dragon demon. The Asmodean Lord was no longer their god, and he would no longer protect them. The other Asmodean Lords were panicking. The Asmodean Lord was powerful. If he was really controlled by the dragon demon, then it would be the end of the eastern land of oceans. More importantly, the Asmodean Lord was in the forbidden land of God at the moment. In the end, the Asmodean Lord of that generation had to summon an avatar of the Asmodean Emperor from the forbidden land of God to defeat the dragon demon. The Asmodean Lord was in control of the forbidden land of God, and the dragon demon was in there. They were not Asmodeans and did not know how to summon the Asmodean Emperor. For a moment, none of the Asmodeans knew what to do. The leaders communicated for a while. Guided by Lu Li's two soul slaves, most of the leaders reached a consensus. They would refuse to give away young boys and girls, so that the Asmodean Lord would take action. Then, powerful warriors would be sent to the forbidden land of God to investigate. First, they would confirm if the dragon demon had taken control of the Asmodean Lord and the powerful Asmodeans in the Beijing city. If he could control the dragon demon, then he must find a way to kill it. If there was no more control, everyone would pledge their loyalty to the great demonic god again. The great demonic god couldn't possibly kill all the leaders, right? All the leaders sent out messengers to the Beijing city to ask the Asmodean Lord to come out and explain to him that the dragon demon was not controlling the Asmodean Lord and that the meeting would be held at the Dubian city. After the great demonic god received the news, he flew into a rage. This group of idiots thought themselves infallible and wanted to ruin his great plans. But the Asmodean Lord knew that he had to come out this time. After all, if the forces did not give away young boys and girls, the dragon demon would have no food to grow. The Asmodean Lord did not think too much. He assumed that his subordinates were complaining about the defeat and the loss of young boys and girls. The Asmodean Lord was also suspicious. He did not think that Luli was behind all this. The Asmodean Lord sent out a message that he would go to the Dubian city in 5 days and all the leaders who had doubts should gather there. Those who did not come would be killed without mercy. The Asmodean Lord is going to take action? Luli and the others were close to the Beijing city. Luli's spirits were lifted when he heard the news from Chuan Pu. With the Asmodean Lord taking action, Luli would have a chance to kill the dragon demon. If the Asmodean Lord did not leave and the Asmodean Lord worked together with the dragon demon, Luli would not have the slightest confidence. As a matter of fact, Luli was not confident that he could defeat the dragon demon by himself. He had learned a big diagram, but his abilities had not improved. It was not that the big diagram was useless. It was just that he could not integrate the 15 small diagrams perfectly. Without integration, it would not be a big diagram, but just 15 small diagrams. 5 days. I have 5 days left. I must find a way to integrate them. Luli murmured and went back into the wicked bead. He told Yicha and the others to move forward and hide outside the Beijing city. He would come out in 5 days. How is it out there? Bai Qiushua asked as soon as Luli came in. Luli gave her an explanation and then went back to cultivation. He was pressed for time. Every second counted. He had learned all the 15 small diagrams, and they were all engraved into his bead of life. He had poured divine energy into each diagram. He was able to fuse the first 14 diagrams, but he was unable to fuse the last one. He felt there was a crack and he was so close. This was a headache for Luli. He could not force the diagrams to fit together, could he? It was like when 15 pieces of a jigsaw puzzle could be put together perfectly. But when the pieces were taken down and put back together, there would always be one piece that could not be put back together. Luli was speechless. He did not know what to do. Time moved on. 5 days passed by quickly. Luli had come up with hundreds of ways, but he still could not integrate the diagrams. He opened his eyes helplessly. Alas! He heaved a heavy sigh. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushua asked him with concern. Luli forced a smile but said nothing. He only said that he had run into some problems in cultivation and he had to go out and take a look. He teleported out from the wicked bead. Yicha and the others were hiding in a mountain outside the Beijing city. Luli asked Chuan Pu, "What is going on in the city? Has the Asmodean Lord gone out?" "I don't know. I haven't heard anything." Chuan Pu shook his head. Luli frowned and said, "Go into the city and have a look. Keep a low profile and don't let anyone see you." Yicha would be in danger if he went into the city. After all, there were many powerful warriors in the city, and Yicha was not an Asmodean. Chuan Pu was gone for 6 hours. When he came back, he reported with excitement, "Lord, the Asmodean Lord has gone to the Dubian city. He has been gone for an hour. Many people in the city saw him teleporting away." Okay. Luli was relieved that the Asmodean Lord was gone. He thought for a while and said, "Go back to the city and take the jade talisman with you. When the Asmodean Lord comes back, crush the jade talisman at once. I will go and kill the dragon demon." Even though the line diagram was not integrated yet, Luli did not have time to worry about it now. This was a rare opportunity. He had more than a dozen Earth Immortal Realm warriors with him. How could they not kill a demonic beast? Yes, Chuan Pu was excited. After the dragon demon was killed, it would be the Asmodean Lord's turn. Luli could not rule the entire Asmodean race. He needed a spokesperson. By then, the new Asmodean Lord would either be Luli or his father. At least, the Chuan family could grow. Let's go. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.